handsome liberal. Now, I titled the show Stop the Steal Part 2026 because with the Trump administration, stop the steal seems to be a phrase that just keeps on giving. And I'll give it to you in a moment here. I was trying to make sure I can't for some reason reverse the screen's backwards and it's not allowing me to reverse it. But I do want you to hear a clip. Now, how many of you, I asked you this earlier. How many of you have seen Trump on 60 Minutes, not 60 Minutes, Meet the Press yesterday? Some of you may have, some of you didn't. I want to give you like the last minute or two of the interview because I think this is worthy of hearing and it is part of our show.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
Let's talk
There's
about Todd
tremendous
Blanche.
evidence. There's nothing
It's
but
not been
evidence. The
presented
election
in a
was
court of
rigged.
law.
It was a dirty election.
Mr.
And it's
President,
happening again right now in
You've never
California.
presented evidence
It's happening
that the
right
2020
now in
election
California.
was rigged.
Right now, it's look at what's
Where's
happening
the
in
evidence
California.
to that?
It's
The
4
Republicans
days
are doing well in
California. It's no, they're not. They're dropping fast because it's a rigged election. Let me tell you, it's 4 days, and they aren't even close
That's
to
how
coming
they-
up
that's
with
how
it.
they count
You know
the
why
votes
they're
in
doing that? Because
California.
they're cheating on the election.
Do you have evidence
It's-
to support
all I have to do is look. All I have to do is look.
That's not
And
evidence.
Now, while she's pushing back, and she is pushing back quite a bit for a reporter. Normally, they just sit there and let them bash him. Now she is going to get bashed. Understand, the pig, you're fake, you're stupid. All of that is coming to this young woman, but I got to give her credit. She is pushing back. They are talking about currently the election in California. Trump is alleging that this election is rigged, but I want you to continue hearing this. We're going to talk about this.
all I have to do is
That's
look.
not
And I
evidence.
listen. And I listen to people, and let's see what happens.
But sir, that's not evidence.
Do you think it's appropriate
That's how they
that they
count
ha-
the votes in
Do you think it's
California.
appropriate that they have an election and 5 days later they're nowhere close to picking a
State and
winner?
local officials acknowledge they are slow. They're urging.
No, they're crooked.
They're urging
They're
the
crooked.
votes to be counted quickly. That's how they vote
They're
in
crooked,
California.
just like you're crooked. Your press is crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked.
To be fair, I'm not crooked, but let's
Really?
let's
Well, you
continue.
play right into their hands. then.
Let's continue.
You're either crooked or you're stupid.
Let's
You play
continue.
right into their hands with this rap. You know that these elections are rigged. Your network knows that they're rigged. You know that I won an election in a landslide, and I got 94% bad press.
But Mr. President,
You know why I
you've
got
never
that?
presented
Because you have no
evidence.
credibility.
But you've never presented evidence that it was rigged. Let's keep talking about. I want to talk about Todd
You
Blanche.
have more evidence. There's more evidence than ever presented.
Let's talk
Your
about.
elections
You
in
went
this
to
country,
court.
we're like a third world country.
But, sir-
Your elections are
I want to, this is almost over, but what I want to point out is notice he's talking about how much evidence is available, but he ain't citing anything. He is not citing how much fraud they caught and how many people they got arrested trying to vote illegally in San Jose or how they found ballots in San Francisco. Notice he's yelling over and over again that the evidence is there, but he's not presenting anything. And that's what she's asking him, like, well, what evidence do you have? All you got to do is look, is what he's saying. Well, tell us what you got. I mean, notice he ain't presenting nothing.
and you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked,
Mr.
and so
President-
is ABC and CBS and CNN.
But, Mr. President-
You're one-sided crooked networks. Right? Let's call it quits because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good
Mr.
time.
President, let's please. I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
I've sat in the
traveled
rain with
all.
you.
I know. I
I've sat in
traveled
the rain
all the
with
way
you
to
for an hour,
Wisconsin.
on and off in the rain, and I've given you enough time. You ought to straighten out your press because you know what?
Mr.
A
President,
country can never be
We
great
traveled.
with a dishonest
Listen,
press.
we
Come on,
traveled
let's go.
all the way to Wisconsin for this interview.
So, and he got up and left. He walked away. My guess is it's probably more partially due to the fact that she was challenging him hard. I mean, normally, a lot of folks just let President Trump speak, take the beating, and just continue with the interview. She's like, you don't have any evidence of any of this stuff. So I do want to, we're going to be talking about this because I don't understand why we're still on this stop the steal stuff. Now, I read a poll that suggests that, 60% of Republicans, 60% of Republicans in 2026 still believe the 2020 election was taken by the Democrats. They still believe that. I'm shocked. I don't have an answer for it. I mean, it's been 6 years. There should be a flood of evidence. It's been 6 years, and in several of those years, Trump has been the president. The guy the one who was saying this stuff. There should be some evidence by now, other than things didn't look right or they didn't investigate it right. There should be something you can latch on to. There should be absolutely something you can latch on to. Real quick in the comments on TikTok in particular, somebody said, "What's wrong with the lighting?" I don't know. Because all the other platforms, maybe something wrong with my device. I don't know why it's doing that. I have no clue. But we're going to have to just keep going through it. But yeah, there's absolutely no evidence of any significance to say this. Now, I saw in the comments also, I think it was Gen X, you said earlier, just because you say something over and over again doesn't make it true. That's what we're talking about. Just because you keep saying the election was not held properly doesn't make it true. Where is the evidence? Now, you hear him suggesting now that California is rigged. Based on what? Based on absolutely what? Now, in California, the issue is they're taking an exceptionally long time to count the votes. They're counting mail-in votes. You know the Republican Party is no fan of mail-in votes. But just because they're taking a long time does not automatically equate to fraud. You can't make the leap like that. And that's what's happening here. It's almost like a cop telling you, could you hand me your license and registration? Just because it's taking the guy a long time to pull it out doesn't mean he doesn't have it. You can't just automatically make a leap based on something you don't like. And that's what seems to have been happening throughout all of these elections they're claiming that have been taken. So we're going to talk about it because I'm not seeing it. And I do want to get down to the nitty gritty and ask you folks, why the hell are they against voting by mail and voting online? What would be so wrong with allowing people to do this online or continuing to have voting by mail? Talk about that. Tap the screen. Get us up to 10,000. You know we'll take our first caller at that. Rod S. Yeah! Appreciate the hat and mustache. Thank you guys for helping your boy out with the TikTok cap goals. And specifically for my TikTok viewers, I apologize that the lighting is going in and out. I do not know why this device is doing that, but I'm trying to avoid resetting the whole show for simply the lighting issue. But continuing on, I do want you to hear another clip. This one is the one and only. This is considerably shorter, by the way, considerably shorter. But this is the one and only Bill O'Reilly, formerly of Fox News, that said something that I think would resonate with my beloved MAGA. But I want to get the opinion of everyone. You guys know we don't block banner sets, so I want to hear the opinion of everyone on this quick clip, 30 seconds or so, because what he is saying will make sense to some. But I do want to present an alternative side to this.
The whole world should be rooting for the Trump administration, right? You want a terrorist state, a state that supports Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis and that killed American soldiers and built bombs and hangs their own people and destroys whatever it wants to destroy. You want that country to have access to a nuclear weapon? That's what you want? Everybody should be with us.
So the question is, by way of yes or no in the comments, do you agree with Bill O'Reilly that the whole world should be with the Trump administration on this? Yes or no in the comments. Evil B. Babu says, hey, Tim, Christian Walker did an excellent job. Yes, she did. Where Trump can't handle being under pressure. That may be some of that. I don't think Trump is very favorable to having a woman push back on him during interviews. Now, she's obviously a woman of color. That may not help her out at all. We can debate that. But I absolutely don't think that Trump is a big fan of I don't think he's a fan of having anybody push back during an interview. But he's really hard on women. I haven't heard him really calling male interviewers, male reporters, all of the names that he generally calls women to their face. I haven't seen him do that. So I don't think he's favorable of it. Barbara Walters was the best at getting Trump. Well, different era, Arnita, because Joy Behar said some stuff to him when he was on The View as well. He wasn't running for president. So it wasn't in his best interest to be as hard as he is now. And he just was not as hard as he is now. That's probably the reason why a lot of folks liked Trump back in the 80s and 90s and they don't like him now. He wasn't going around publicly criticizing everybody. He was on television a lot. He didn't launch anywhere near a fraction of the insults he launches now. It ain't like he wasn't on television for folks who say, well, the internet wasn't around. He was on TV. And he was not doing that to anywhere near the level he's doing it now. So that makes for a whole different way of judging President Trump. So I do want to get into the show. Tap the screen, get us up to 10,000. We'll take the first caller. Handsome Conservative says it's not the job to provide evidence to the reporter. The reporter needs to look for the evidence. Where the hell did you get that from? So if you go on television and you make a claim that a network is fake, a network is fraudulent or corrupt, you can just say that, and if they ask you for any evidence, it's your job to go look it up? No, that's not how that works. If he makes a claim, provide some evidence to it. What do you mean? So you can just go on TV and say any damn thing and tell the reporter, well, you got to go look it up now. You can call anybody a pedo, call anybody anything. And then all of a sudden, now they got to go do the homework on the claims you made? I don't think that's how that works. I think it's just like it is in court, where you go, if you're prosecuting somebody, if you make a case, you have to prove your case. It ain't up to the defendant to prove he's not guilty, except for you who's making the allegation to prove he is. They don't have to provide no evidence, and the reporter just got to go looking it up, huh? That's because mail-in voting messed up the election. There should be no mail-in voting at all. How do you know? How has mail-in voting messed up the election? I'd like to know, because mail-in voting has been around for a long, long time. The military still mails in votes. How has mail-in voting messed up the election? I'd like to know that, other than Trump just making allegations. So last but not least, I just wanted you to hear this real quick, because this is wild. And we may end up talking about this, we may not. But remember Ted Cruz, Senator Lindsey Graham, and many others believe we are biblically prophesized to stand by the nation of Israel. When you hear this is an American woman that is over in the Middle East providing medical care to people who have seen the worst.
Confirm that we are seeing single shots to the head, neck, chest. My partners down in the emergency room who are working absolutely tirelessly to stabilize these folks so they can survive to surgery have reported to me that 2 days ago, they lost 6 children under 12 to single shots to the head. This is worse than anything I've ever seen. The scale of destruction is something that I couldn't even comprehend before I got here. There is no more room. Everyone is living in tents. Somehow they manage to, the Palestinians are incredible. Somehow they manage to keep water, trucks running, garbage trucks running. They're doing everything they can to maintain their society. But it's getting harder and harder every day.
So the question is, do you but do you believe that's accurate? Because the Israelis are saying they're trying their best to prevent innocent casualties. This is an American doctor. Her name is Kathleen Gallagher, U.S. surgeon in Gaza. She's on the ground in Gaza, and she's telling you she can confirm they're seeing single shots to the head, single shots to kids, and she's painting Israel in the worst light possible. Do you believe the nation of Israel is as dangerous as she's trying to indicate? As dangerous as she's trying to indicate. Tap the screen, get us up to 10,000. We'll go ahead and start the program. Now, looking in the comments, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. That's crazy what she is saying there. It's crazy because mail-in voting's been around since the Civil War. Yeah, like I said, I haven't heard anything other than the Trump administration suggesting that mail-in voting messed up the election. Now, I'm asking, why can't we vote online? What is wrong with mail-in voting? We'll go to the box. Tap the screen. New Village, I think it said, if we can bring them up. Same shit 3 days in a row is a habit. Google it. What does that mean? In California, you don't need ID to vote. There is your evidence, Tim. That is not evidence. That is not evidence. That is evidence that okay, let's say you don't need you don't need an ID to vote. So that means people can cheat. Okay, let's go with your stance. I don't believe that's true, but let's say it is 100% true that anybody can walk up and vote and you don't need any ID or anything to do it. First thing is, you should hear about people saying that when I walked in to vote, they told me my vote had already been cast. Because if you're walking up to vote without an ID, then you have to be voting for somebody. You got to be voting. Okay, if you walk in and try to vote, let's say you're voting and pretending like you're me. Okay, then when I go in to vote, I'm not going to be allowed to because my vote's already been cast. Where are those people in California complaining about that? I mean, if widespread people are voting illegally in California, then the actual voters should be coming forward and saying they told me my vote was already cast. Where are those people at? Where are the arrests at? Who's getting caught? You're telling me California is just allowing this and they're just letting people get away with it. And last but not least, if you can vote without an ID and the Democrats are doing it, are we to believe that in a state that has tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Republicans, because outside of the major cities in California, all of the rest of the state is red. Are we to believe that the Republicans are not doing the same thing? If you leave a loophole open that the Democrats can cheat, are we to believe that no Republican would do that? Is this a notion of only Democrats are dishonest and all Republican voters are honest? Is that what we're trying to portray? Somebody let me know. We'll go back to the box. So something about that doesn't make sense to me. Something about that doesn't make sense. Miss Mo Better. Good evening, Mr. Mo Better. Republicans are the ones getting caught, says Ernita. Yikes. Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mo Better. Republicans are you got an echo. You got an echo. Real bad. Okay, I'm going to have to. We'll give it a second, otherwise I'm going to have to drop you. That's because women don't know where to shut the hell up and listen, says handsome one. Really? God. So Trump goes off on women because women don't know when to shut the hell up and listen. Whoa. Miss Mo Better?
Trump goes off on women because he's weak. He's a weak, thin-skinned bully who thinks that he could just have his way with everything and everybody. And not everybody's going to put up with his shit. And for somebody like whoever just said that to support that, you just as weak as he is. Grow up.
I mean, he does really attack and lay in hard on women a lot. Now, he don't do it to men. Why not men?
Because he's weak. Period. He's so weak, he allowed BB to drag us into a whole WAR.
Well,
that's how weak his ass is.
I actually, do you think he allowed BB, or do you think he actually believed Iran was getting a nuclear bomb, or do you believe he knew they weren't and maybe there was something else to gain?
No, it's bigger than John Coffey around here with those things, you know. We know. Well, we can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure BB got something over their heads. He's dangling over their heads. Because for the life of me, why do we still support them? Why are we still sending them aid? And why are we still giving them stuff? What have they done for these here United Snakes of America to say that we must continue to support them in our way?
Well, I mean, I don't totally disagree with you. So what was the purpose of Netanyahu doing that then?
Because he know he can get away with it. He know he can do it. It's easy. We got that weak man, and they kept calling Biden weak. What? Biden didn't have us in no WAR, did he? Did I miss that?
No. And Trump promised for us not to get any new wars. So, I mean... On day one, he was supposed to get us out of one and no new ones, and everything. He did the opposite of everything he said. Well, you got these fools believing him. Well, but people do believe that he had to do it because Iran was about to get a bomb, and unlike Biden or Obama, he's making us safe.
How many years has BB's been saying that since he's been in power there? He's been saying And they have yet to produce any of that evidence. That's why Trump crashed out when that reporter was getting at him like, "Where's the evidence of the things you say?" Then he started.
He's been saying it for he's been saying that Iran Bibi Netanyahu's been saying that Iran's about to get a bomb for a couple of days now. He has said it a few times on tape.
Multiple times over decades he's been saying it. Like, come on, make that shit make sense.
Well,
But again, he got Bibi got all of this mouth and all of this shit. Why are you calling people in there to help you? Why don't you handle that shit yourself? We could have mind our business. We give them enough. We give them enough aid where they could have had their own forces.
Well, the thing about it
their
is,
forces are over there terrorizing people, just like that video you just showed with that lady and them babies. That's what they're over there doing.
do you believe that? Where they're just popping people like that?
Yeah, it's been like that since the invasion of Israel. Those are not true Israelites that are there. You know, they're colonizers that are there. Those people from other areas that migrated there, adapted to their way of life, and then now they try to spill over and steal the land from Gaza too.
Mm. And by the way, hold on a second. Handsome Conservative said, "Hi, I made it to Clapper. What's going on?" What's going on is you got somebody with a similar name. There's you, Handsome Conservative, and there's another guy with Handsome One. So both of you guys got a similar. You two handsome men in there with the same sounding name. That's what's happening.
I mean, words do matter, Tim, because some of them, the ones that I've seen, are not really handsome. I'm just saying. You all right? You doable. You doable. Them other ones,
So not TikTok. California is alleged. I don't want to say still. I guess Trump is saying that there is a rigged election in California right now.
Anytime he knows his numbers are low and that he's not getting to where he think he should be, it's going to be rigged. That's all he knows. He's been saying it for how long now? That's why he had to go pardon all of them thousands of all of those people from J6, because he know that he led them astray by saying that the election was rigged. You understand what I'm saying?
It works well for him.
Listen, it'll work as long as he's the president. Because
I don't know.
Technically, those people could actually sue him.
I don't know. I disagree with you because when he lost to Biden, it still worked. It was the 4 years that Biden was in office. The claim that Biden stole the election was still working. And by the way, in the comments, Cricket says, "I've been on TikTok a long time. Show me what you got instead of complaining." We're discussing the issues, what's going on. So if discussing what's going on sounds like complaining, then that's the way you're taking it.
Listen, it's amazing when people keep saying that, but you're here listening. So what do you like? You like to hear the complaining or something? Like people, they say the dumbest shit, Tim. That's the shit you need to start calling.
Well, we like them, but hold on, Miss Mobetta. We like the people listening. We don't mind the dissenting opinion. We're MAGA friendly. If you think we're complaining, damn it, tell us we're complaining. But state your case.
Shut the fuck up. And listen, like they've been doing. You ain't got to say it. I'll say it for you. I'm not in your position right now. Shut up. If you gonna be here, shut up and listen. Learn some shit.
Well, listen, and I'm okay with that. But any individual that think we're complaining about something that shouldn't be complaining about or complained about, or we're getting something wrong, I invite folks, come on up, Clapper, Instagram, TikTok, or Substack. We'll bring you up live. You can be a caller just like we're talking here now. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't allow it, so we can't bring you up on YouTube because they don't allow it. But we'll bring you up and you can explain it. Go ahead.
Send that Galaxy. You could come up here while I'm on. You could do that too.
That is true.
Other than that, sit down and shut the fuck up.
That is true. And CMB, I appreciate the promotion. CMB, the good life. So no.
When it comes to MAGA, Tim, you try to make sense of the shit they say, and when you ask them to provide even some kind of evidence or examples of the shit they say, and they don't have it, all they do have is the whataboutism. Oh well, what about when Biden? What about when Obama? What whataboutism shit is played out? It's okay to say that your man fucked up. research some shit. You see, everything he's done has been in a negative as far as these here United Snakes.
Well, I'm going to bring up the typical. He's done a good job on the border. He's done a good job on the border.
A border. Guess what, Tim? You talk about the border. All of those people that he claimed to have exported or whatever he done, they're still here in the States. They're just in the concentration camps and different camps like that. That's not, and they're getting, you know what's going to happen? It's going to be lawsuit after lawsuit after he's doing all of this. It's still going to cost us money.
I don't know. I think even
I don't care. You can fluff all you want to for that bullshit.
I don't know, Ms. Mombetta, because I think that under the Trump administration, the number of immigrants that have been wronged is so great that they're going to have to put a serious limitation on how much each person can claim. You can't compensate them all what they actually deserve because it's just too many of them.
Well, it'll happen. It just happened here in New York. They had a $14 million suit against them, and they won. So it's gonna cost us even more. Like his lives, it should be costing lives. So even with the border happening, what he's doing, it messed up a lot of farmers. It messed up a lot of people that have businesses that actually relied on those people that they went right on the jobs and took them. Like it cost us more.
But it ain't like Trump did not campaign on being really tough on immigrants. We elected the man after promising he was going to be what did he say? He was going to have the largest deportation in U.S. history. He promised that. That's a promise made, promise kept.
He ain't promised shit.
You never heard him say, hold on. You never heard that man promise the largest deportation in history?
I promise. His numbers are still lower than Biden's as far as
he's not done. He's not done yet.
The thing is, he's not deporting these people. You're not hearing me when I talk about that. He's not deporting them. He's encamping them. There's a difference, and that they're still here on American soil.
Shit, are you sure?
You go.
Here's what I'm getting at. Here's what I'm getting at. I'm sure during World War II, a lot of folks thought that a lot of them Jewish folks had got deported or left the country. I mean, all we know is they got rounded up. I guess they're gone.
Say that. He's rounded up a few folks.
Yeah.
Where we are, we don't even know. You got people that lost family members don't even know where they are. That's inhumane, number one. You can't get my glory for that. When you allow these ICE agents to go out there and unalive people in the streets, you get no love for that. I'm sorry, Tim.
Well, you got a lot of MAGA saying that's exactly what they voted for, Mr. Mombetta.
Because they slow as fuck. They slow as fuck. What? They don't take much to convince them because they don't read. So he said he loved the uneducated. The smart people don't like him. And the proof is in the damn pudding.
I don't know. I mean, look, I think it's kind of wrong. What are you suggesting, that all MAGA are not smart? There's no intelligent MAGA out there?
No.
That can't be right. So, I think...
Yeah, that's my sentiment. Well, that could be just my opinion. It could be my my biased opinion. But it is what it is. I say what I say. No, they're not smart.
Well, how about this? CMB in the comments says, we are slow, but you voted for an unqualified candidate that lost to a felon.
No, that felon had somebody to help get his ass in there. He lost to her. Bullshit.
Whoa. You're telling me you believe Trump lost to Kamala Harris?
Absolutely did.
No.
Now, I know you're a part of the He-Man Women Haters Club, Tim.
What the hell?
Me? Give Kamala credit for shit.
How?
So I'm not even expecting you. You hate on her every chance you get. So I'm not expecting you to not side with what he just said.
Okay, well,
listen, they act. First of all, the numbers, they act like it was just like these big landslide numbers between him and Kamala. It was not.
Is Kamala Harris even saying she won? I don't believe she beat Trump. Is she even making that claim?
She don't give a fuck. That's the problem. She don't give a fuck. You know why? Because of the forces who she's going against, Tim. You're not seeing who she's running against. You're running against powers that she just didn't have enough to win. He did. He had the right people in the right place at the right time. Let's not act like that shit don't happen. Now, when he's talking about elections and shit being rigged, he's projecting. He's projecting.
Well, it's working. 60% of Republicans believe the 2020 election was stolen.
He stacked the deck, Tim. What the fuck? Cheaters might, again, they might get over at that moment. They might get by for that moment, but they won't get over. It still won't end well for him.
But why on earth?
Bet your bottom dollar on that.
Yeah, but why on earth? It's been, 5 years since 6 years almost. This November, it'll be 6 years since the 2020 election. Why 60% of Republicans still believe Biden stole that? Why do you think that is?
Because they're dumb, Tim. What the fuck more you want me to say about that? They're slow as fuck. I keep telling you that. Elon did come out. If it wasn't for him, Trump would. Elon said that. If it wasn't for him, Trump would not be president. Elon said that. We're not making this shit up.
What do you think Elon did?
That ain't hard to tell when you out there giving out $1 million checks and shit. That shit ain't hard to tell.
He's apparently don't like what you said. He's a big donor. What's wrong with him being a big donor?
I got it, huh?
What's wrong with him being a big donor? That's what Elon did. He donated money to Trump's campaign. What's wrong with that?
So you buy positions, Tim. That's why they're trying to make up things now where it's going to be a cap. They're putting forth bills now where it's going to be a cap of how much you can be donated from rich donors because you can buy positions, and that's exactly what we're seeing now. That's what oligarchy and all of that stuff is.
It don't matter though. It don't matter what cap you put on it. You still be able to buy unless you cap it at $50. I mean, let's say you take it from Elon donated $350 million. Let's say you can't donate more than 100,000. You can still do a whole lot. You can still move and shake a whole lot with giving somebody $100,000. So you're not going to stop shit from being able to be bought because that's still a substantial sum.
I get that part, no, because if you're crooked, you're going to be crooked whether you're rich or poor. You're rich or poor. However, we know now what it is that $350 million did. What did he do? He created a whole position for him, didn't he? With Doge. Did he not? Well, and that's what that shit does. It buys position. And in this case, it wasn't good. The first thing Elon did was went after people's Social Security, IRS, people's private information to see where we can steal it back, where we could take more money.
Well, until that culminates into some kind of reality, you're accusing Elon Musk of being guilty and doing a bunch of stuff. Until people are actually being harmed by it, it's just an accusation. You're making accusations on Elon Musk that you can't prove.
How many people don't lost their jobs since then, Tim?
No, you're talking about stealing information. You're telling me he's stealing data to hurt people with.
Stealing that information to cause people to lose their job. What is you talking about?
Elon Musk just went through and canned people. I mean, he canned you based on whatever, he's claiming his performance, but some say it's your sexual orientation or your gender or whatever. But in terms of him taking information to use it down the line for some sinister reason, that's just an accusation.
Listen. All right, that may be an accusation, but that $350 million still cost people their jobs.
I don't doubt that, but my guess is he ain't the first person.
It's all lumped in together. It's all coming from the same goddamn person. So don't think that he didn't use that information as far as people's private information go to cut Social Security, cut Medicaid, to cut food stamps and shit like that. Don't think that he didn't use that information for that, because where do you think them numbers came from?
You think he the first person to do that?
At this caliber, yes.
At the level, okay. So in other words, you believe others done it. He's just done it to a different level.
He's done it to a whole different level. Right. Like, listen, when have this? They set a new precedent here. It's gonna take hella work for the next person to get in there, whether they're Democrat or Republican, to fix this shit. And because the Republicans, a lot of them now are really separating from the MAGA movement. They're really trying to regain the respect that they thought they once had.
Yeah, but they ain't going to the liberals. I gotta move it on, but they may not be.
I'm not saying that they're going to the liberals. They still gonna have a lot of work to do.
We'll see. Midterms in 5 months, a little bit less than 5 months. We'll see. Miss Mobetta, gotta move it on. Thank you very much.
I'll
Tap the screen, get the likes on up to 20,000. We are talking about the idea that stolen elections are still being discussed in 2026. President Trump is claiming that the California election is rigged. And by the way, I got an ongoing poll just asking this question: who won the 2020 election? Because I'm hearing folks, I read an article that says 60% of Republicans still believe that Trump had the election taken from him. My poll with 60 some odd voters right now, 36% of them say Trump did win that election. Wow. So 64% believe that Biden won, and 65-35 now. So there's still a lot of people that believe Biden lost that election. I'm just going to say, what is it based on? And in the comments, Richard Long asked, who cares? It means a lot, Richard, because it's still being used. People are still behaving, acting, and voting a certain way because they still believe that. A lot of folks do not trust Democrat cities, Democrat states, Democrat politicians because they believe they steal elections. People still believe that. People are still acting based on that information. So that's why it matters. If you're running an election in a Democrat state, he's got folks convinced that Democrats are not trustworthy when it comes to elections. So it's still living on. Tap the screen, get the likes on up to 20,000. We'll take the next caller. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Handsome conservative. Appreciate the sub. And yes, it does change your name so I can actually see you different from the other people, because you definitely just look like 1 in a million at that point. It says, look, and I do see where you sub, so thank you very much. Popular vote, Hillary won, though. Yeah, well, the popular vote, it's all about the Electoral College, though. Look, Trump has been saying that the Democrats have been swiping elections since he came on the scene. It would help if he had evidence. I'm just going to say it right off the bat. It really would help if he had evidence to prove what he's saying, because most of what he is saying about this stuff comes with little to no evidence at all, and that's what makes it such a challenge. Get us up to 20,000. We'll take the next call. But we are, and by the way, Jay Sid said Israel has capital punishment now by law for Palestinians only. That's terrible. Is that true? That Israel invoked, they now have capital punishment, but only for Palestinians? Wow, that's bad. Tim, I hope you will research the Israeli law on capital punishment and discuss it fully. You too, but I had never heard it, and I will look into it. Thank you. Wow, that's bad. Only for Palestine. Can you imagine? I suppose that maybe this country had that at one point in time, capital punishment only for minorities or something like that. That's terrible. So it was rigged when Biden won, then magically became fair 4 years later. Yeah, that's going to come up. But Trump at the time was saying, we're going to vote so much for me, it'll be too big to rig. That was what they were claiming. Tap the screen, get the likes up to 20,000, take the next caller.
Listen to me.
Let's talk
There's
about Todd
tremendous evidence. There's nothing
It's
but
not been
evidence. The
presented
election
in a
was
court of
rigged.
law.
It was a dirty election.
Mr.
And it's
President,
happening again right now in
never
California.
presented evidence
It's happening
that the
right
2020
now in
election
California.
was rigged.
Right now, look at what's
Where's
happening
the
in
evidence
California.
to that?
It's
The
4
Republicans
days.
are doing well in
California. No, they're not. They're dropping fast because it's a rigged election. Let me tell you, it's 4 days, and they aren't even close to coming up with it.
That's how they count.
You know
the
why
votes
they're
in
doing that? Because
California.
they're cheap.
She's doing a really good job pushing back on the guy. I got to give her credit. She's doing a really good job saying you don't have evidence. What you're complaining about is just how they vote, et cetera, et cetera. She's pushing back really good. Now, I really believe that's why the interview, Trump got up and walked away from the interview, is that she was not going to let you just, she made it clear, I'm not going to just let you say this shit. Even when he called her corrupt, she pushed back and said, "I'm not corrupt. You don't," or whatever he called her. So I really believe that may be why he got up and walked away, is because he's used to being able to say whatever he wants and kind of get away with it. She certainly was not just letting him do that. Democrat Party is a criminal organization, says Donnell Hall. Of course they're going to cheat. Wouldn't expect anything else. Well, would you expect some evidence of it, though? That's all I'm saying. Why is it so hard to present evidence that this actually happened? Let me go back to the box, tap the screen, get the lights on up to 20,000. We'll go to MAGA Reacts. What is wrong with asking for evidence? What is wrong with presenting it? MAGA Reacts. Good evening.
People still believe it. People still acting based on that information. So
You got echoes and shit. She, like the rest of us, she's tired of him crying, says Shirt 14. And by the way, folks, help your boy out with the hat, mustache, TikTok cap goes. What's wrong with asking for evidence, MAGA?
nothing's wrong with it. It's just hard to get evidence when it comes to elections.
Then how you know it wasn't held properly? If you can't get your hands on any evidence, how do you know what you're saying is accurate?
Well, because they changed a bunch of rules and they didn't let us look. They didn't let us investigate. I tell you this every time. They didn't spend, they spent 2 years on Russia. They spent 0 on the 2020 election.
Okay.
And then they had all these special rules for COVID, but California just has those rules on the regular. So the same way they're able to cheat in 2020, the special rules they had just for COVID, California has those and more. California has so many fucked up election rules.
What you're doing to me sounds like the cop that says, "Well, if you won't let me search your car, that means you have something in it illegal." You're making a leap because as you're saying, they didn't investigate it properly. So we're going to assume because they didn't investigate it properly, they had to be cheating. That's not evidence. You can't make that link.
I didn't say they had to. I said most likely they were.
That's like...
No, you asked me why I don't have any evidence. That's the reason I don't have any evidence, and that's the reason the cop doesn't have any evidence.
So...
You didn't ask me... You just asked me that. That's why I don't have any evidence.
So based on that, then it would be safe to assume, because Trump released the Epstein files with everything redacted, then that means he must be in them.
No, what do you mean?
According to you, because
you don't have any evidence to prove that he.
Exactly my point on the election. You don't have any evidence. That's exactly the point we're making. You seem to get it when Trump is up.
I don't even have redacted files, Tim. They didn't give a shit.
Yeah, they did. You have never seen
California's voter rolls, and they won't give him.
You haven't seen any redacted files come from the Trump administration.
When it comes to elections?
No, Epstein.
What do you mean? You've seen a ton.
What's the difference? Let me ask you, what is the difference between me not letting you do an investigation on the election and me giving you a file that is all blacked out? What's the difference?
Well, one is the FBI doing the investigation. The FBI did the investigation on Russian collusion. They had...
We're talking about Epstein. We're not talking about Russian collusion. We're talking about Epstein.
We didn't have that. But we didn't have even that. We didn't have anything. They also had an Epstein investigation where they followed up leads for 2 years. They spent all this time.
How do you know?
Epstein, but again, they spent...
How do you... That's what they're telling you. That's what they're telling you. Just you don't trust what they're telling you about the election, but you trust what they're... It's the same people. It's the FBI. You trust what they're telling you about... They tell you the election was not stolen. Well, you didn't investigate that long enough. They tell you ain't nothing in the Epstein files that are all blacked out, and you suddenly believe them. It's the same organization.
We have the Epstein files to show they actually investigated.
No, you don't.
Have anything when it comes to election.
No, you don't.
Adopted files for the election.
You don't have the files. They're telling you this stuff. You just are believing them. You don't know if they actually investigated. You don't know if anything they're telling you is accurate.
They told us they spent 2 years on Mueller, and they did a report. And you see all the files from the Epstein. You see all the documents they created. They didn't do any of that for 2020. They didn't tell us that they spent 2 years looking into it. We know they spent 2 weeks, and then Bill Barr decided to quit. And he basically threatened to quit, and he pretty much did quit after 2 weeks.
Trump has been in control of the FBI now for 2 years. Why hasn't he presented anything?
I mean, he has the DNI looking into it. But
You said,
all that shit-
how long do you want the FBI to look into this before you become satisfied? Trump's been president for 2 years almost. At what point do you become satisfied they looked into it enough?
I always said 2 years, just like Mueller, and Trump's only been looking into it for like maybe a year. And I don't even know like how he's looking into it. I need to wait for the report to see what they're actually doing.
Right.
I mean, with Russia collusion, we saw what's his name interviewing people and doing a bunch of work on the Russia collusion. We saw them work on Epstein. We haven't seen any work on the 2020 election.
So what this really amounts to is you don't believe they did a proper investigation. That's all this is.
That's one of the things, yeah. But it's also the voter harvesting. The voter harvesting they allowed in 2020 and the voter harvesting they are allowing now. Like mail-in ballots by itself, when it's used in like small amounts, like the army and stuff, is fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Says who? That's your opinion, though. Why can't the army cheat?
I mean, even they do, it doesn't matter because it's a small amount.
No, that ain't true. That could be a problem in your local elections. Let's say you're a soldier and you live in a town where there's only 500 people. You could sway smaller, lower elections like that. Why aren't you going after the military? Why not say they shouldn't be the mail-in either?
Because it's hard to go overseas to fake someone, to harvest someone's military vote. Versus, I'm talking about like when you do it massively, like right now, almost every California election, someone in California gets caught registering homeless people to vote. Like it's almost like clockwork. Every fucking election, there's some guy in California that gets caught registering homeless people, and that's just the ones that get caught.
Is the person that they're registering to vote that's homeless? Does that homeless person have a legitimate right to vote?
I mean, if he's voting, yes, but if they're doing some funky shit to get them,
what is the funky shit? If I'm on the street, strung out on drugs, but I am a U.S. citizen, I do have the legal right to vote, and somebody comes up and helps me register to vote, where's the crime in that?
The crime is making them vote for who you want to.
How do you know that's happening? How do you know they're making them vote for somebody?
For one thing, it's pretty much legal in California to do. There's people out there collecting up to 500 votes. Any regular person could collect up to 100 votes, no problem. If you work for a like what's it called? If you work for someone that's running, like
thank you, real talk. Appreciate that.
If you work for a candidate, you could collect up to 500.
Okay, but collecting votes don't mean you're doing anything wrong. I'm trying to get where is the wrong part in it? If you collected,
you could go to someone that never votes, and then just you being there will put pressure on them to fucking. First of all, they all get ballots. So it's not a matter of like they have to register and you have to come back, and it's not like a four-step process. You show up to their house, they're already mailed out a ballot, and then you'd be like, "Hey, can you please fill this out?" And by the way, I'm like.
I wish you could show, but here's the problem. Everything you're saying is, but here's the problem. Everything you're saying is still assuming. I assume if you collect votes, you're cheating. I assume if you show somebody you're voting, you may pressure them. It's still all assumptions. Where is the actual evidence that something happened?
That's all you guys do here. Assume what.
We're talking about you. We're talking about you.
Yeah, because it's very easy to do, Tim.
So no Republican.
The Democrat Party has the biggest ground game. That means they have the people to go around, walk around, and have these people, harvest all they want. I mean, that's really why they won 2020, and that's why they keep winning in California, all the harvesting.
All I'm hearing is I don't like the way Democrats are voting, and we don't vote that way, so we're going to assume that because they're voting in this way, they're cheating. But we don't have any proof of it. Everything you're saying is based on this. Where are all the arrested people? Where are the people getting caught that have broke a law? Where are they at?
Google it, Tim. They arrest someone for registering homeless people almost every California election. Every freaking election of someone in California getting arrested for that.
Real talk.
Hey, what's going on, sir? First of all, sir, let me ask, sir, like, we got to send 2 galaxies now? Because that was the second one, man.
I didn't see the first one, and when I saw the second one, I was just about that, and I appreciate that, but I didn't see it.
All right. I was. I'm gonna need you to keep them eyes open, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a bit like that.
Well, if you do it, just type in. Usually, when it happens, somebody in the comments start typing. He sent the Galaxy, and I see it. But my apologies, I didn't see it.
It's all good.
Next time you want to come up, just say so. You don't have to say.
What brought you up,
Mike,
Real Talk?
Because he was talking about like stolen, elections stolen and stuff like that. Like when Trump was talking about that 2020 thing. Now, when Trump was, remember before Trump came president, like you follow him, right? Like you follow Trump, correct, Michael Reds?
Yeah, like a
Okay,
normal
so-
person, not like a Democrat.
Which is fine. So, have you saw him say multiple times before he was president that he was going to come out with some evidence for the 2020 election being stolen or rigged?
Yeah, he says it, but I don't think he
Okay,
he could actually
Okay,
say it.
so this is the thing. If he have said that many times and never did, why would you still feel like, you know what I'm saying, like something was wrong, or the 2020 election they should have investigated, when the man who was in charge said many times that he was going to bring out something and he never did? And that's a sign that maybe he was lying.
Oh, I know he probably was lying, but I'm not basing my beliefs off what he says.
So wait, hold on. So if you're saying,
because Trump said so. I've
okay,
never said that in my
but
life.
your wording was okay. Maybe he probably is lying. So the question is then, then he don't have any more credibility than people that are still in the election, according to you? If you think he's lying about the election, what makes him any better than the people trying to steal it?
Because he doesn't count the votes, Tim. He doesn't count the votes.
What does that got to do with lying? What does that got to do with lying?
He's just a cheerleader trying to get his.
What's the difference between lying and cheerleading?
Because he's not in the game playing. Do you think the cheerleader cheat in games?
Okay, so when a cheerleader is cheering, they are cheering for the team that they playing with. They out there watching the team. They want to motivate the team to win and stuff like that, and hype up their crowd. So are you saying that that's what Trump was doing? He was being a cheerleader. He was just hyping up the crowd. He ain't know nothing. He's just lying just to hype up the crowd.
No, I mean, listen, the crowd thinks there's cheating. We want proof.
Where are they getting it from, though? They're getting it from him.
And we also want the rules that made it easy for cheating.
So, man, let me ask you this question real quick. So I heard somebody ask this question, and I think it's a very important question. If Trump never came out with saying that the election was being stolen, it was being rigged, like when he been started saying that, if he never did that, you think J6 would have happened?
Yes, 100%.
They would have just showed up on their own.
2000. Everyone still thinks the 2000 election was fucking funky because Gore should have won that shit. But
who did what they did on J6? Like, people can feel the way that they want to feel, but to show you the difference is, maybe back then in 2000, people was like, I felt like it was stolen, but I ain't got no evidence. But this time in 2020, Trump came out before he had any proof. Like, one thing we can know, we can all agree on, that Trump will come out there and say something, and his word is law. His word is the evidence. Or if a case should be like that. Like, for an example, right now, with this California thing going on, he already screaming fraud.
Yep.
Like how does he know?
It's a little funky. You don't think it smells?
Look, anything can look funky. I can look out my door and see somebody walking by my truck and that look funky. Or if a case should be like that. But is they doing something? Or whatnot like that. Just like you can't call them, people call the police and say, oh, somebody looks suspicious. They can look suspicious, but suspicious is not meaning that they're doing something wrong because they look suspicious. Or if case it be like that. So just because it look like something, that doesn't necessarily mean it is something. And why would you?
But it could be what it is.
You're right. It could be. It could be. So you know what? Find out if it is before you start telling people what it is.
Don't you want the cops to come out and investigate? The cops are telling you we're not even going to come out.
Look, first of all, I'm not scary. That's number one. I'm not scary. I'm gonna do my own investigation first. So when I see somebody walking around my truck, I'm gonna be looking to see if they doing something.
Well,
now, they just walk around.
You can't do that with elections.
You're right. You can't do that with elections.
And the people that tried to do that, they all got arrested.
And you just can't.
Because they broke the law doing it, MAGA. The fake electors were investigating the election by breaking the law themselves.
Elections, as a regular person, you're gonna go to jail.
You can't just scream fraud if you don't have no evidence to prove it.
Well, I want it looked into. You know, it's like
Okay, so do you want that? So
getting murdered, you have to make some noise.
So look,
to look into it.
So look, this time right here when Trump just won, you want this looked into too? To see if he won for real?
It wasn't a close election.
Oh, come on,
He
man.
won everywhere.
But look, it looked like it. It looked like it.
Talked about. Listen, the other part that we haven't talked about is in 2000 and 2020, it was basically like a 1-point game. In 2024, it wasn't a 1-point game. Trump won everywhere by a lot of points.
So let me ask you this question: you into sports, right?
Not really, but I know enough.
Okay, you know enough in sports. If a team win by 1 point, you think that whole game should be investigated? If they win by 1 point, you think it should be investigated?
If the ref is making some fucked up calls, yeah. I mean, even in basketball, like remember like 10 years ago in basketball, you couldn't review plays in the last 2 minutes. Now you could use a timeout to review a play. And football has a rule where you could always like use a timeout to review a play.
Okay, so you want
that with elections.
So you want that looked into. So let me ask you this question then, right here then. So why Trump been president over a year now? Now he got the Senate, he got the Congress, he got the White House. Why he ain't bring out not a spit of evidence and say, look, this is all this voter fraud was happening there? Why he still saying it and not producing it?
Now here's the last part. States run elections. So he has to go through the state and the state fight him. Even right now.
So let's go with that. The state said there wasn't no fraud going on. I think what that was, they had an AG, or I think an AG that he appointed, or whatever the case may be. Like
I'll tell you, the state of, in fact, a lot of the states, like Georgia, was a red state. They did 3 recounts, and he still wasn't happy. Arizona did a bunch of recounts.
Investigation, man.
Hold on, but what about the cyber ninjas? The cyber ninjas did an investigation and found more ballots for Biden. Okay, like do we factor in all this?
Where did they find more balance for Biden?
In Arizona. That happened in Arizona.
Margarita, let me ask you this question right here. You ever heard of Berkeley Research Group?
No.
Okay, that was a group that Trump had hired to look into the election. They came and testified during the January 6th thing, if I'm not mistaken. But Trump personally hired some people to look into the elections, and they came back and told him they ain't find none. So what about that? Like, don't you think it's crazy that you don't even know about the people who Trump paid his own money to hire to look into that?
They have no power to go in there either. They had
Come on, man. So you gonna knock everything down, bro?
I'll tell you.
You gonna knock everything down?
I'll tell you. Based on what I'm hearing, hold on. Based on what I'm hearing, it sounds to me like unless they see things the way I see it, I'm not going to accept anything. That's what it sounds like.
No, that's what it sounds like to me too.
Investigation. It's just like the Mueller report shut the mouth up of a lot of people that questioned Russian collusion. I know there's still people questioning it, but it went from like 60%.
Here's where I have the problem. He alleged election fraud on election night. So now we got to spend 2 years to satisfy you chasing what he said. Instead of having us chasing, instead of having us spend 2 years chasing what you said, why don't you just show us what made you say it? It would make it a lot easier. You want us to put 2 years of effort. You want the FBI to put 2 years of effort into what he's alleging, as opposed to just telling him, give us the information that made you say this.
First of all, I never went off what he alleged. It has nothing to do with what Trump alleged.
But this is what you're doing, though, because
I'm going off the numbers. I'm going off the game that Biden scored way better than Obama, better than Hillary. Biden scored better than everybody. That there were a lot of funky rules. There's a lot of like smoke out there. I'm fucking dying from smoke inhalation, and you're like, there's no evidence. I'm like, yeah, we need the fucking FBI.
But you're also admitting that Trump may have not been honest. So I'm going to ask you, if Trump is lying about the,
do you expect cheerleaders to fucking score?
That ain't what I'm asking you. If Trump is lying about the if Trump is lying about the election in your opinion, then how do you know Trump is not trying to steal? If you're admitting he's lying about an election, how do you know he ain't trying to steal it?
Because he's not part of the game. He doesn't do the counting. He doesn't do the harvesting. He doesn't do any of that shit. It's a state-run election. He has no control. 2020 proved that he's got no control over it. he went to the fucking guy that's in charge and was like, hey, can you look into this fucking election? And the guy basically...
You actually call making up something about an election that is not true cheerleading. That's what you call that. That's cheerleading.
Well, until it's investigated, you don't know what's true and what's not true. They didn't investigate shit.
Okay, so that goes back to the point of what I said earlier.
3 minutes.
He's been in president. Okay, sir. He's been president over a year now, right? Isn't that correct? Like he's been president
Almost
like
a year and a half. Year and a half.
Okay. So let's go there. Almost a year and a half. Now, within that year, he's been saying this back from 2020. He's been saying that. OFK said that election was stolen all the way up until he became president. And matter of fact, with the Meet the Press lady, he just said it again. Why hasn't he done anything to go ahead and show that he's in power now? How are we gonna find out? If the president can't do nothing, how are we gonna find out? Because didn't he have people go take voting machines?
Yep.
Didn't he have people
As
go
far
do
as
that?
I know, he is looking into it, but it is 4 years kind of late. It would have been better off if he looked into it right away instead of like 5 years later.
So basically, when Trump was in power, when Trump was in power, when he ran everything, they was able to steal it from him. But then when Biden ran everything, they couldn't do nothing.
Because it was too big to fucking rig. Too big to rig.
And you see what you just said right there and now? This is what I noticed what a lot of people do is support Trump. Trump was the one that came out and said, let's make it too big to rig. Now you repeating the same thing that he said. So it goes back to what it goes back to what Mr. Trump said earlier. It seems to be that you ain't gonna accept no outcome unless it's the outcome that you want. OFK should be like that. Because y'all always repeat what comes out of Trump's mouth. I watch y'all, man. I don't got no beef with y'all.
He's a cheerleader.
I don't got no beef with
I don't. That cheerleading.
Why y'all behind a fake cheerleader? Leading y'all astray?
How is he a fake cheerleader? He's cheering for the fucking team.
He's cheering on lies, brother. He's cheering on lies.
When a cheerleader says, we're gonna win, we're gonna kick their ass, that they're lying.
You know what? That sounds like a Dolphin fan. When a Dolphin fan say every year they go to the Super Bowl. OFK said be like that. And they never.
I've never heard somebody call a person that's lying a cheerleader. If you're alleging election fraud, he's not saying we're gonna win. He's saying they stole it. Saying we're going to win is a cheerleader. Saying they stole it is telling a lie. That ain't cheerleading at that point.
I'm going to go ahead and jot down, sir. Thanks for breaking me.
All right, Real Talk. I appreciate it.
I'm not asking for much here. I just want to
investigate. Yeah, you are. He's been president for almost a year and a half. You haven't gotten any evidence. Well, it ain't been 2 years yet. If he's been in it for the 2 years is almost up. He should have some evidence right now. You don't have anything from him at all, and you're making it sound like, well, maybe at the 2 year point, he'll wrap it up and give us all this information. You're not going to get anything from him, and I think you know that.
We'll see, because I know he's looking into it, so we'll see what happens. Yeah. I know it hasn't. It's tough to do it 5 years later, because this should have been looked into in 2021. 4 years later. Now we're looking into it in I think he started in the middle of 25, and he's still doing it right now. So we'll see what he finds out. And, he's trying to look into this election, the California election right now. He's asking California for their voter rolls to see how many homeless people are voting, to see how many dead people are voting. And guess what? They're fighting him because they don't want to help him.
Because he might be cheerleading, MAGA. That's why they're fighting him. He might just be cheerleading, as you're saying.
Well, because they don't want to get caught fucking cheating.
You wouldn't if somebody had Trump's record on saying things about elections, you wouldn't hand your rolls over to him. You wouldn't give your shit to him either.
It's the DOJ.
You're gonna fight that. If you're a liberal state, and you got some guy out there like Trump that accuses all liberals of cheating, and he's never seen a Republican cheat in his life, which shows his eyesight is biased. You're not going to you're going to be trying to fight tooth and nail to prevent from handing your shit over to his DOJ as if the DOJ that's working for him is unbiased.
Okay, but even if they're biased, they have to actually have evidence, and they're going to present that evidence to us, and we'll see what evidence they find.
You're not going to trust that they would
fight him.
His DOJ is akin to letting your car be searched by a cop you know is crooked. You know that cop is going to find some shit in your car because the cop is crooked. You're not going to let that DOJ do an investigation on you because they're absolutely going to find something. You already know that they're not on your side. They're not unbiased. They're going to find something.
It's more that everybody's dirty and they're worried that their dirt's gonna get aired out. I'll give you one little point. I think every fucking state is dirty, and if you look into their shit, they're gonna get caught for something. I think that California is one of the dirtiest states in the country, and that's why it takes fucking a month to fucking count their votes, because they're so fucking dirty.
Well, I'll just say I gotta move it on, but I'll just say this: all these claims without any evidence. We ain't looked into it. We ain't looked into it enough. Then wait till you look into it before you make the allegations.
How do the cops find evidence? How do the police, the FBI find evidence?
Sometimes they plan it, MAGA. That's what I said.
But they need to investigate. They're not gonna find any evidence if they don't investigate. If they're not given.
This ain't about them not investigating. This is about you saying they didn't investigate long enough. So he don't search the car and didn't find anything. Your response is, well, you didn't search it thorough enough. So that's what you're telling them to do more. That's what you're telling them to do. The FBI came back and said, there's nothing here. And then you need to go search some more.
I know they spent 2 years on Russia and there was barely.
That ain't how this works. That ain't how it works. I gotta go.
Look up any election. Find me an election where they spent 2 weeks and found evidence. They never spent less than like a year or two on any investigation, Tim.
Trump's been in office for at least a year investigating it now. So a year is not enough?
We'll see. I mean, they're the one investigating.
I don't think you're going to be happy. I gotta go, but you're not going to be happy at the two. You're not going to be happy at the 2 year mark. At the 2 year mark, he's going to say something else didn't happen. He was too busy with Iran, or he was too busy doing this, and he didn't do it thorough. I just don't think the outcome is going to satisfy him no matter what. Tap the screen, get the likes on up to 40,000. The FBI doesn't run off presidential terms. Well, look, this is my point. If law enforcement comes back and say they looked into some kind of claim you made, let's say you're claiming that your neighbor was dragging out what looked like a body in carpet last night. And they go and search your neighbor's house, and next thing you know, you see your neighbor back outside the next day. They didn't arrest him. They said, we didn't find anything. Well, you need to search more. That ain't how it works. You don't get to tell law enforcement how much investigating they must do. If they say they didn't find anything, they didn't find anything. That's kind of how it works. He's basically saying they got to do an investigation up to my standards before I'll believe it. I don't believe he's going to believe it. I believe that they do 2 years, he'll come back and say, well, they didn't do it thorough enough, or there were gaps in it, or they were dealing with something else from the Democrats that stopped him. I just think that as long as Trump is saying the 2020 election was taken, people are going to believe it, no matter what. I think they'll be saying it after he served for 4 years, they'll be saying it. Looking in the comments, though, tap the screen, get us up to 40,000. We'll take the next caller. Help your boy out with the hat, mustache, TikTok, cap goals, if you will. In addition to this whole thing, let me ask you guys this. Why can't we have online and mail-in voting? Particularly online voting. If you want to have an election and you want to reduce the amount of fraud, what's wrong with it? Why wouldn't online voting be the weapon of choice? Most of our most secure institutions, you have to use computers to get access to it. When you go to vote, we want to have some old lady standing there that looks at your driver's license and says, yes, this is you. We want to still do this with humans. Most of the stuff we do that require the most amount of security is done with computers. So somebody help me make that make sense. They want less voting, not more, says Debbie. I actually do tend to think that that's the reasoning behind it. I do. Nope, Elon just stole this one. Not going to make it easier to steal, says Advent Comments. And by the way, people keep saying, well, you can hack into, if you vote online, there's hackers. You can also create a fake ID, right? You don't want voting online, but you want people to have to show an ID, as if all IDs are perfect and you can hack into the internet. It's probably a lot easier to create a fake ID. Tap the screen. By the way, in regards to my poll, who won the 2020 election, it's still in that same realm. I told you guys at the beginning of the show, I read an article that said 60% of Republicans still believe the 2020 election was stolen. My poll was up to 150 some odd respondents. 68% says Biden won. 32% are saying that Trump won in 2020. So it's still around that era, despite little to no proof whatsoever that Trump won in 2020. I'm amazed. I'm amazed that so many people still think Trump won that, despite having little to no actual evidence that he did, other than him saying it. That really shows you how powerful the wording from Trump is, because that's all it amounts to is he said it and people believe it. I don't think any respondent. You see, my last guest tried his ass. He has no proof other than, well, they didn't investigate it long enough. So I'm really surprised that people still believe that. But let me go back to the box. We'll go to CMB. We got. CMB, good evening. I just said it had nothing to do with what Trump said. Yeah. You also believe that if Trump didn't say the election was swiped, January 6th would have still happened. I think that's crazy to think that all them people would have just showed up on January 6th on their own. I do not believe that. Trump did win. They have it all. Ask Maduro. The guy that is so crooked, we actually went over to his country and locked him up. That's the guy you want us to ask? He has credibility when it comes to the 2020 election, but he is so corrupt you went and grabbed him and put him in prison? That's the dude you want us to ask? Okay. What's next? You want us to get the election results from Ghislaine Maxwell? Democrats, there's no voter fraud going on. How do you know if you don't check against voter ID? You don't know. But once again, I'll reiterate the point. Like my last guest said, somebody could be outside walking around my truck and it looks suspicious. That don't mean you get to yell out that this person. The voter ID claims, okay, if they are allowing people to vote without ID, the argument is that looks suspicious. You don't get to just jump up and say they're cheating. You don't get to make that leap. You got to prove that because they're voting without IDs, they actually are cheating. There's a lot of things that are done on the honor system where nobody is violating it. So you got to make that, you got to actually prove that. And by the way, if you're allowing people to vote without IDs, we're going to believe that all the Republicans are still being honest, huh? You can clearly cheat in this election and all the Republicans are choosing not to do it. It's just only Democrats. And people believe that. Let me go back to the box. Stop. The voter is the entity and not the man or woman, huh? Didn't Houston still cheat to win with the Dodgers? I don't know. Biden forced out Kamala. What was that? Obviously accepting Biden was shit. Biden didn't force out Kamala. The Democrats forced out Biden. What are you talking about? I had a good 20K under Biden. Yikes. Can you please give these gentlemen a couple so they can have it? Anyway, tap the screen, get the lights on up. We'll continue on with the program. We'll go to Love to Cruise, one of my subs. Good evening, Love to Cruise. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Tim, what's going on?
Not much at all. Why is it that they still believe this shit 6 years later?
Trump told you, man. Trump always tells on his own self. Earlier he said, I'm talking about years ago, if you keep saying it, they will believe it. And that's all he's doing, repeating it, man. If I sat up here and said, and went on TV and said, MAGA Rats is a dumb motherfucker, guess what? Everybody would believe, everybody would think the same thing. And especially the ones with weaker minds that, MAGA. So he keeps on repeating the same thing, and MAGA is going to believe it.
You're making MAGA sound incredibly gullible.
No, they make themselves sound incredibly gullible. I'm just pointing it out. I'm not the one saying that everything the man says is true and asking for things that there's no evidence for. That's them.
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to believe that all MAGA are gullible. There's plenty of intelligent, highly educated MAGA out there, so I don't want to believe that. But I do wonder, what is it about Trump where he can just allege something and they instantly take it as face value?
Look here, the ones that are intelligent are the ones leaving MAGA. The ones that are just brainwashed cult, just whatever this, they're infatuated with this man. This man represents everything that they believe. He's going to fight for them. They hate blacks. He hates them. You know, they don't like gay people.
Wait, they hate blacks. There are black folks that are MAGA.
They're confused and they think they're white.
No way. You're going to tell me Tim Scott thinks he's a white man? Byron Donalds?
Hell yeah. Good example. Good example, yes.
No, I don't think Tim Scott thinks he's white. He can look in the mirror and tell he's not a white guy.
Man, he's motherfucking Dave Chappelle. You know, Dave Chappelle thought he was a white man.
You talking about Clayton Bigsby?
Yeah.
I don't think Tim Scott thinks he's a white man. I think that, listen, I think they agree with more from the Republican Party, but I don't think they think they're white.
Man, and Tim Scott and all them other dumb, they really looked dumb after he got in because he didn't put them in no kind of position. And that's speaking of you saying that, with Byron Donalds now trying to run for governor, I think they said that between the Senate, I think there's not going to be any. But they said the GOP is not going to have any black Republicans governor or senator. I don't know if that's true or not, but I saw a post that was alleging that the GOP have not since 1991 been absent of any black members. So they're saying that there's not going to be any black people in the GOP. Make America great again. That's it.
What does make America great again mean to you?
Get all the M people out of the office up here so they can't stop us from doing nothing.
You really wait, hold on, come on. You're shocking me. You really genuinely believe MAGA doesn't like black people?
Now, when you say that, I want to press you by saying I'm saying the majority. I'm not saying everybody. You can't say everybody to everything. I'm saying the majority.
So the majority of people that's wearing this beautiful red hat with white lettering on it.
Tim, go to hell on that. Go to hell.
Wait a minute. You're telling majority of the folks that if you see, let's say you see 5 guys walking down the street, going bar hopping or whatever, and they're wearing MAGA hats. Let's say they are white. You believe that those guys do not like African Americans?
4 of them won't.
Ooh. And I see Stick the Ruler says 82%. Where you get? I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked MAGA reacts about Trump with the stolen election claims. Where is the evidence that MAGA don't like black folks?
What do you mean? They what's that? DEI took away all them. Doge took away all the black women. All the senators just said from leaving. Man, you don't need for them to say that. Just look at what they cheer for. Tim. Come on, man.
Well, what are they cheering for? Look, DEI, folks have been convinced that DEI means folks are getting positions that they didn't earn, that are solely based on their gender, sexuality, or their race. And they think that's unfair. That don't mean they hate black folks.
You know what the crazy thing about DEI is? It isn't just say we were talking about pilots. It isn't other pilots that's complaining. It's the poor people that are mad that when black people get the job, that they're ahead of them. That's who complains, man. They don't want black people to make more money than them, be better in a better position than them. They think they're entitled to be always ahead of black people.
You think MAGA believes they're entitled to be ahead of blacks? I haven't.
Yes, they do.
Based on what? I haven't heard anything like that. I talked to MAGA.
Based on the white entitlement, man. They don't want. Come on, man. They're going so far. They realign the states, taking away black people to vote. Why would you do all that if you're not really worried about that?
And then I need you to elaborate. What is white entitlement? I heard you use the phrase. What is that?
I'm white, and I'm entitled to these things, and you're entitled to the leftovers on what I don't want.
What are those things?
Wherever it may be, a better job, going in a restaurant. They're bringing back Jim Crow. I can use this bathroom and you can't. I can use this water fountain and you can't.
Where have you seen evidence that MAGA is even contemplating going back to Jim Crow?
Make America great again, Tim. Okay, let me ask you this. As a black man, and you hear a white man with power say, I want to make America great again, what does that mean to you?
Wow. It's hard. Listen, and I did it live a few days ago because unfortunately the Klan has used the same phrase. Look, I think make America great again could mean bringing back the nuclear family, 2-parent households, people sitting at the table and having dinner together like they used to on Leave It to Beaver and shit like that, as opposed to kids running around, just bringing back a traditional America.
Tim, you lived in Oak Lawn. You didn't live in South Side Chicago. You lived in Oak Lawn.
128 in Emerald. That's the south side of Chicago. 75th and Stony Island.
128 to where?
Emerald, right off of Halsted. One block.
I know where Halsted is. I got people in Calmay Park, in Dalton.
Yeah.
Lakeshore.
Yeah, River. What is the suburb? Riverdale is it called? What was it called? Right across the bridge. If you go 130th and Halsted, you're in the suburbs. And that was on 128. Yeah.
Okay.
Second black family on the block. Second black family on the block.
Okay, so you got a lot of white in you.
No, this was in the 70s, sir.
You just said you were the second black family in there, so that means it was all white till you got there.
Yeah, but when I came up, white flight is a real thing. Certainly back in the 70s. So when I was a young lad, there were some whites on the block. By the time I was in 3rd grade, I don't think there was anybody anybody white in the neighborhood anymore. It was fast. They started getting out of there.
Y'all did a white flight too, moved out there to Oak Lawn. I know. But anyway, getting back to the subject. You just said all that Leave It to Beaver bullshit.
Well, a traditional household. A traditional household. You go to church on Sundays, they want to bring back traditional America. You knew what a boy was. I'll give you an example. I hate to use this guy because I know what you're gonna do with it, but you ever listen to the theme to Archie Bunker? Everybody pulled their weight. Men were men and girls. That's what they want. That song says it all. Men were men and girls were girls. Everybody pulled their weight. All of that.
You couldn't use the spin off the Jeffersons. You gotta use All in the Family.
That song is what Make America Great is. That song says it perfectly.
Look, all the songs in the world, but Tim, look here, man. In order for that to happen, and you're back in the 70s, I'm back there too. And when that was going on, businesses were closed on Sunday.
Yep.
There's
another.
Now where do you see this happening in that part?
Well, they ain't trying to roll back capitalism. They want to make money.
No. But Make America Great Again, man, is geared toward setting blacks back. Any blacks on this cabinet?
No, not yet. Maybe he will. Maybe they will. Maybe they just haven't found him.
I'm even going to spread it out some. It isn't just black, it's minorities, with women being included in that.
Maybe
all he wants is the white man in power, Tim. That's it.
And yet he did better with the black vote than all the Republican predecessors like Romney, McCain, and Bush.
Well, you know what? Unfortunately, you got a lot of people, and that's the reason I hope the next president...
Thank you, Danny. Next president what?
Doubles the education budget, because we need it. And I didn't realize how lacking education a lot of people are until this election. I listen to a lot of these mega people, and the fact that you could keep on saying he's right with no proof, but the minute we say something to you, first thing you cry is proof. Prove it. But when you talk to them, no proof is. Oh, it's only been a year.
Well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I believe that. Because like I said, I've been to a couple of Trump rallies, and I had a guy tell me when I was waiting the 5 hours or so to get in. Guy told me that Trump was sent by God to make the country great. I mean, if you believe God is talking to you, it don't matter if you're ignorant or if you're highly intelligent. You don't question what comes from God. There are a lot of MAGA that believe Trump is a direct descendant of the deity himself.
And you know what? It's amazing. Common sense ain't too common anymore. Because even if you don't have extreme book smart, just have average common sense. And listen to this man. No new wars. Oh, he just meant this and that. You know, I'm gonna cut the power bills down 50%. Get the man. It's only been 2 years. Damn. What you want it done overnight? I'm gonna get rid of the wars. No more new war. I'm gonna solve the war in Russia over there in 124 hours. And there's an excuse for everything. And they just keep on. They don't run out of excuses. They just reload.
I can't explain. I can't explain. If Trump says I'm lower grocery prices on day one and end the war in 24 hours, I don't understand why MAGA does not admit he failed at that particular promise. They just moved the goalposts and say, well, it takes time to do this. That ain't what he promised. He promised he's going to do it in 24 hours. You're still talking about he takes time a year later. He said, then what made him say 24 hours? Did he not know it takes time? That I don't know. I don't understand that.
You know what? And I believe, too, when you're saying things that people want to hear, like I said about the racist thing and everything, including your dumb ass thinking he can kind of stop the war in 24 hours.
I did believe that. I actually believed that.
And so when you're saying things that people believe, common sense gets thrown out the window. You know, for you to sit there and believe, who I consider highly intelligent.
I got a little brains. But think about it, though. Think about it, though. Between Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and Trump, who has the better relationship with Vladimir Putin?
Look here. Let me ask you something.
You didn't answer my question, though. You can ask. You didn't answer my question.
Trump.
All right, then.
Trump.
All right, then.
Okay, but knowing that Vladimir is a KGB agent, isn't that what they call their Secret Service, whatever?
What they used to, yeah.
Who would you rather handle him, Trump or Biden?
Well, now that I know Trump doesn't have he's not an art of the deal kind of guy and great at negotiating, but when he first came on, because he was on course to build the largest skyscraper in Russia before becoming president. So I'm like, the only way you're going to be building and doing business in Russia, you must got direct linkages to the people in power in Russia. I thought that they had a good relationship. That's why, but now, I don't know, Biden and Kamala Harris, Putin ain't going to respect them either.
But look, I'd rather have him not respecting us than to respect us, knowing he's Russia. And this wasn't it Trump's first term where the CIA was telling him, he's doing this and he's doing that, and Trump said, "No, I believe him."
Yeah, that's a problem. The same thing with Tulsi Gabbard when she was the head of our National Intelligence Services, saying that Iran was not developing a nuclear bomb. You're right. Our intelligence services was telling us that Russia was about to attack the Ukraine, and I don't know what is up with Trump in disputing our intelligence services. I don't understand either.
So that I don't understand it either. And right there, somebody, if you call yourself the president of the United States and you're not going to believe the intel that's coming to you, if anything, I believe you're working for them.
I can't dispute that. Something's wrong with that. Like, why don't you believe? Because I remember Bill O'Reilly interviewed Trump during his first term during the 2017 Super Bowl. And Bill O'Reilly was even telling him, Putin is a killer. Why would you not believe what they're telling you? He's like, well, America kills people too. He was defending Putin back in 2017. I don't know, but that is part of what led me to think these two got something going on, and if Trump become president, he could probably get Putin to lay off on Ukraine. That's what made me think that, because Trump has never criticized Putin. Even now, he doesn't say anything negative about Putin at all.
Now you make me. I got to dig into it because obviously people just throw common sense out the window when dealing with this man. Just believe anything that he says. Because if you're into a fight with this guy, the guy owes you money, and you see him, he's been brushing you off, and you see him, and you, where my money, he doesn't have you, F you, or whatever, and you get to fighting with him. Do you want to, can anybody break that off?
What do you mean by break it off? Break off the fight?
Yeah, break up. They may break you up, but your friend says, "Oh, I got it. I'm gonna get him in a day. I'll handle him. They'll be friends again in a day."
The minute you said that, I'm thinking of Samuel L. Jackson at the beginning of Minister Society. What do you mean you ain't got my money? That's what. That's the first thing I thought. I gotta move it on, but that might be a problem. I don't know. That might be a problem. People do take lives over their money.
It can't be done. So why would you think it can't be done with you as a person? Why would you think a gentleman could do it for a country fighting another country?
Because I thought he could give them something that might make them back down. Something else, maybe, I don't know. Guarantee that they're not going to join NATO.
You need a couch for somebody to talk to, Kevin. You need a couch and let somebody talk to you for a while.
I don't know about that, but I got to move it on. Lewis,
all right.
Thanks for coming through. Maybe I'll get the couch.
Man, love the cruise, man, not Lewis.
Love the cruise. I know I said Lewis. Love the cruise. Yes, thank you. Shitty pants is weak. What do you mean by that, Arnita? Tap the screen, get us up to 60,000. Trump is just weak and wants to look strong, says Debbie. I don't know if I say he's weak, but I do believe it. I will say it appears that Trump is not as strong as he led folks to believe. Remember, he's the guy that, under him, America's going to be more respected now and all of that. Iran is making, I guess to some degree, I understand what you're saying, Debbie, because Iran is making us look weak. They're making us look weak just like the Ukraine has made Russia look a lot weaker than we originally thought. I mean, Trump has been saying that Iran has been begging for a ceasefire ever since this war began. They just attacked Israel yesterday. Iran did. So they clearly are nowhere near as frightened or dilapidated as the Trump administration has been making them sound. So, I mean, not only that, but they attack Israel. And instead of Trump following through with all his threats to blow Iran into the Stone Age, he tells Israel, don't retaliate. So it does look like Iran has found Trump's number. We can talk about why that is, but it does look like Iran is in, what did Trump tell Zelensky of the Ukraine? You don't have the cards. It looked like Iran has more cards than Trump tried to let on. That's all I'm saying. Trump is strongest yelling at small women. He definitely challenges women. There's no doubt about that. That's cult-like to believe that for MAGA, thinking God sent him. It's a lack of brain and cult mentality. I don't know why they believe that God sent Trump, but people do believe that. People absolutely do believe that. Real quick, I'm gonna drop another poll, but just giving an update on the poll, who won the 2020 election between Trump and Biden. It's been very steady despite more and more people responding. Now, we're up to 230 respondents so far. It's still 64% say Biden won in 2020. 36% says Trump. So it's been hovering around that 1/3 mark the entire poll. There's a lot of people that believe that Trump won in 2020, apparently. Oh, that's a lot. And I'm not talking about from my little, backwoods poll. I'm saying I read an article that says 60%. In fact, I heard them say, it's on YouTube. Somebody asked me, where's the poll? It's posted on my YouTube page. You're live right now. We're currently live on Instagram, TikTok, Substack, Clapper, and YouTube. If you're watching us live on Instagram, Substack, Clapper, and TikTok, follow the program. If you're watching us live on YouTube, give us a sub. We're here most weekdays. And by the way, what do we say? We're MAGA friendly, always will be. Always have been, always will be. Our comments go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. As you've seen, you can be critical of anyone, including yours truly. In the comments, Pooh Bear says, I believe Kamala Harris won in 2026. That makes no sense. The 2026 election has not been held yet. You can do polls on TikTok. Really? I've never tried that. I have to do that. Iran has been prepping for this for 50 years. The entire defensive cabinet told Trump not to attack Iran. Trump couldn't help but believe Netanyahu. Old Netanyahu has gotten us into every war for 50 years. I actually do believe that. I believe that because Tulsi Gabbard did not want to say that Iran had a nuclear bomb. And, they've been riding for Trump. So she did not want to go on record saying something like that. And I think that will end up happening. Eventually, eventually Trump is going to have to tell where he got that intelligence from, because Tulsi Gabbard said they were not developing a nuclear bomb, and Trump was on Air Force One being interviewed and said she don't know what she's talking about. So if the head of intelligence is saying they're not, and your response is, well, the head of intelligence does not know what she's talking about, well, where are you getting your information from? Because she would be the one responsible for telling you that. Very similar to when Trump was on, once again, Air Force One, after the school full of girls in Iran was bombed, and Hegseth was sitting behind him, and he tried to indicate that Iran did it. And they asked Hegseth, and he wouldn't back that up. So once again, that would be the guy who would have told you that. So where are you getting that from? So it looks like Trump is kind of just going rogue and doing his own thing. So hang on a second. Yeah, that's good. So it seems like he's making his own stuff up. So I don't know. But anyway, I'm getting interrupted in the middle of my show. That's what's happening here. Brother, we cannot win this war without putting boots on the ground. It is impossible. Netanyahu wants to expand territories of Israel. The Greater Israel Initiative isn't some part. Well, I don't think we can win it without putting boots on the ground either, but I don't even know if putting boots on the ground is going to result in a victory. I mean, I know it will result in a whole lot of casualties. What do? We end up occupying Iran for years? I mean, that's what we're trying to avoid, is another long-term, drawn-out war. You're not going to just put boots on the ground, go in there and do what you need to do and come right out. That is not Venezuela. It's not going to happen like that. And I believe that is the mistake Trump made, is that he thought it was going to be easy as Venezuela. It's not going to go like that. And I see in the comments, Hanson Conservative says, now this is what I said. We're not putting troops on the ground. We're not really at war. Now you're at war. You're just not fighting it as hard as you can. That's like putting one of your hands behind your back, or better yet, both of your hands behind your back, and just kicking at your opponent. Just because you have your hands behind your back doesn't mean you're not in a fight. You're just not using all of the weapons you have available. We're at war. We just aren't using everything. I'm glad that Trumpster is handling this country. MAGA for life, says Kenny. Now that's support. Tap the screen, get us up to 60,000. We'll take the next caller there. Help your boy out with the hat and mustache, TikTok cap goes. Speaking of Iran, I want you to hear this clip. We played this. There's Trump's ankle there. That wasn't what I was trying to bring up. My damn computer's acting funky here. I do want you to hear this clip before we go on, but shit, the way this damn computer is acting, we may not be to do it. Oh, shit. What the fuck? Don't know what's going on. I can't get out of this thing here. Got a picture of Trump asleep. In the comments, sounds like I heard MAGA higher prices for life. So when he said MAGA, your response is that means higher prices for life? I don't know. Eventually Trump would get the economy back on track, right? Eventually. Thank you for the hat and mustache there. Whoever did that. Some of you folks are still showing your boy some love. Thank you. You can't put boots on the ground. Why can't you put boots on the ground? He could do that. He absolutely could do that. I don't think that America has the stomach for a bunch of casualties, though. And that's absolutely what would happen if we end up putting boots on the ground in Iran. But this is a clip I wanted you folks to hear.
The whole world should be rooting for the Trump administration, right? You want a terrorist state, a state that supports Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis and that killed American soldiers and built bombs and hangs their own people and destroys whatever it wants to destroy. You want that country to have access to a nuclear weapon? That's what you want? Everybody should be with us.
So he's saying the whole world should be rooting for Trump to stop Iran from getting a nuclear bomb. Here's what I don't understand, because we're alleging that Iran is the world's largest, state sponsor of terror and all this other stuff. And so because of what we're doing, the whole world should be with us. Here's the problem I have on this is that
sometimes you have to let people think you a fool.
My computer's
That's something my grandma still.
I don't know why she came up. My computer's fucking up. But here's the thing. And I was just about to say that. Love the Cruz. You're saying exactly what I was about to say. He's describing us. The problem is, since Trump became president, we threatened a sovereign nation like Greenland. We've actually said some pretty menacing things to Canada, Colombia. We took out our leader of Venezuela. Now we're talking about Cuba will be next. We've done a lot of damage in Iran, not to mention killing schoolgirls and blaming it on the Iranians. The point I'm making is, why should the whole world be behind us? What is the difference between what Iran, in regards to being sponsors of terrorism in the Middle East, what is the difference between what Iran is doing and what we're doing? I would submit to you that we are sponsoring, or better yet, behaving in manners that are terroristic or terrorist-like in our own right. We may just agree with what we're doing, but we're terrorizing countries. I mean, Cuba's in the dark right now. That's because of us. So I don't understand why he had the belief that people should just be behind us. We've been pretty fucking mean to a whole lot of countries. So I don't know why he thinks that, but I'll move on with the program, and I don't know what the hell's going on with my computer, whereas it's not, I think I switched it over to some kind of other screen or something. Anyway, looking in the comments, I have to figure that out. Trump's cognitive and physical decline is so terrible, no nation respects the USA. No nation? It's gotta be, I don't know about that one. Looking in the comments, tap the screen, get us on up to 65,000 so we can take a call to Sherbert. They're not tapping the screen. That's what's happening. We'll go to Twisted. Good evening, Twisted. Tim, do you see the fascist tendencies in Trump's administration? There's what's called 14 tenets of fascism or whatever. Yeah, there's some there. I mean, I assume you could find them in many administrations, but I think in Trump's administration, most of them are there. Twisted, good evening. Twisted, are you there?
25 miles an hour.
Apparently not. We'll move it on. Going back to the box, tap the screen, get us up to 65,000. Looking in the comments, probably because these other countries need us. I think what Trump is doing, handsome conservative, in regards to you saying other countries need us, I think what he is doing is he's going to make countries need us a lot less. I think that if he keeps doing that, treating people like shit and some of the things he's doing, these countries are trying to find alternative ways so they don't need us. So I don't know if that's going to continue if we keep treating people the way we are. Nate, good evening. Welcome to the program. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I was requesting up earlier about with MAGA Reacts and the evidence on the 2020 election. I mean, you don't need much evidence more than multiple court cases saying that the election was not stolen. So I'm just sick of hearing the same rhetoric come from the right. Like another issue is about Iran getting nuclear weapons when they've been saying this for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to open our eyes and say, yeah, they're not getting nukes.
Well, our eyes were open. Tulsi Gabbard, she's on the Republican side of the aisle, head of the intelligence agency at the time. She said they're not getting nuked. She pretty much said that.
Exactly. Yeah, and then didn't she end up resigning as well?
Well, she claims her husband has bone cancer, so she's saying it was because of that. But yes, she did resign.
That's right. Yeah, I remember. I was in another live, and somebody on the blue side honestly was saying that they could be lying, and that's where I kind of got a little frustrated because
Who could be lying? Who could be lying?
Yeah, nobody with any kind of morals is gonna lie about their loved one having bone cancer, dude. That's
yeah, that would be. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. She could just say, "I'm taking off to spend time with my family." You don't make up something like that. That's pretty awful to do that.
Right.
It would be.
And then,
World should be.
What about what O'Reilly said? Do you agree with him that the whole world should be rooting for us?
No. I have to look more into that. I don't know too much about that right now.
Well, I'll tell you, he's saying because Trump is trying to prevent a state sponsor like Iran from getting the nuclear bomb, and they're going to obviously, he believes that obviously they would upset world peace by using it. He's saying that what Trump is doing is a noble deed, and we should, the world should be behind that. You're stopping a bad actor from becoming a nuclear nation.
Yeah, that's the same rhetoric that still people are saying that they're trying to get nukes, and that's just not happening. So I think that kind of stupid. And what is it? I also don't think that we should be at war with the Middle East at all anymore. I don't think we should even be allies with Israel because the wars, in my opinion, I served back in 2010 in Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan, and the wars in the Middle East, they're never going to end. We need to get out of them and stay out of them.
Why do you believe they're never going to end?
Because that's all anybody that is over there knows. Before us, it was Russia that bombed the shit out of them. So everybody growing up, like the children that are now adults or whatever, they were seeing this their whole lives.
Yeah. Well, but I don't think it's just a matter of being over there for the reasons we give. I think that one of the main reasons we're over there is because we want power and influence in a I'm going to say a resource-rich environment. If we got out of the Middle East and got out of their wars and things like that, it probably would result in much higher oil and fuel prices for us because we're over there controlling what they can and can't do, and we're making sure we do that to our benefit.
Yeah, I agree with that too. But I still think that it's never going to end. And like putting boots on the ground in Iran right now, that's really bad. I mean, you're talking about they're making IEDs now with like $200 IEDs, and they're flying them around on drones. We're going to have an insane amount of casualties if we put boots on the ground over there.
Yeah, I don't think it's never going to end, but to some degree, I think one of the reasons why wars in the Middle East are never going to end because we're stoking a lot of them. I mean, I actually do believe we're actually promoting a lot of those conflicts and wars to take place to begin with.
Yeah, and Trump starts his term out saying no new wars, and then here we are.
Now, were you a Kamala Harris voter?
I did vote for Kamala Harris, yes.
Did you vote for Trump any of the 3 times?
No, I would never vote for him.
Well, some would say the economy and some of the things on his first term were managed pretty well.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I had hope for him, honestly, when the first time he ran, I did not vote for him, but I had hope because he was a businessman going into politics, and I think, but at the same time, like he more than doubled the deficit of what Biden did in his first term, so I don't see how he could claim himself to be a conservative.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I don't know where Trump claiming to be a conservative comes from, but why do you think so many folks still see him as one of the best to ever do it? I got a guy on YouTube now saying MAGA for life, Trump for life. Regardless of what the economy is or the fact that he promised no new wars and we're currently at war, they do see him as one of the best presidents we've ever had. Why do you think that is?
I think because they're in a cult and they believe in anything he says.
Everybody keeps saying this cult thing. So you genuinely believe these folks are cult-like?
Yeah, genuinely. I do believe that. I have talked to educated MAGA as well, too, and I'm still learning, like, the more I debate and stuff, too. But like the beliefs that I do have, they're very foundational, and like one thing that he did, like they're super racist, dude. Trying to take away equal employment opportunity. If you know why that was put into place in the first place, then it's super racist to try and take that away.
Wow.
Or try and get rid of that.
So you do see MAGA as you do see the Trump administration as a racist administration.
Oh yeah.
Shit. Well, then I guess you've kind of explained enough of why you didn't vote for him. Wow. You think Kamala Harris would have been a better president?
Yeah, although I do think that we would still probably be in the conflict with Iran because of Israel. Although she did say that she didn't want to get involved, I know from
you think Netanyahu would have convinced Kamala Harris to attack Iran too?
Yeah, I do. I think that both sides, the Democrats and Republicans, see Israel as a needed ally, and I don't think that we need them as an ally.
Well,
we're just going to keep on fighting their wars for them.
Kamala Harris, you really think she would have been swayed by Netanyahu? Huh? I don't know if I believe that, especially after all of the genocide, Joe must go, and all of this other shit. You think that she still would have been? I mean, because I don't know. Netanyahu was a far-right politician, and obviously Kamala Harris is not. And Trump is fairly far to the right at this point. So I can see where Trump and Netanyahu get along, but Kamala Harris and Netanyahu, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I do know that both sides see Israel as a needed ally.
You don't think they're needed in that region?
No, I don't. All I see is problems that come from Israel, to be honest. I mean, the only thing that I know for sure is we fight their wars for them, and it's getting to be too much. I don't see what, maybe I don't know, but I don't see what Israel offers as an ally to us.
Let me ask you this, because this is before Trump. You mentioned Operation Enduring Freedom, and thank you for your service. Do you believe that was a necessary operation? Do you believe what you were over there doing? Do you believe you were making America more secure and actually defending our freedoms, or do you think that was unnecessary?
I think after Obama and Biden took out Osama bin Laden, then we should have probably pulled out of that war at that time. Because after that, I think it was trying to get the Afghan National Police or whatever prepared for the terrorist attacks. But again, I don't think that's ever going to end. So I really don't see the point in that.
So then do you agree with Trump? Because Trump negotiated a deal and gave Afghanistan back to the Taliban.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, I don't agree with it, but I don't see that there's much that we could have done either.
Wow. So we're just wasting time in that region is kind of what you're saying, which is what a lot of folks say. The same thing you're kind of saying is that you're not going to change anything. These people don't want to live like you. They don't want to be like you. So quit coming up. Because the Trump administration indicating that Iran has been killing their own people with lots of protests. It's kind of similar to Iraq. Saddam was killing his own people. The Trump administration has indicated that the people of Iran will view us as liberators. Sounds a lot like Dick Cheney.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think, it's that, and that's exactly what we were doing after we got Osama, is I think trying to liberate over there, and that I don't see that happening. I just don't.
Fair enough. Well, until then, we'll spend a ton of money, hopefully. So you don't believe we should put boots on the ground? Do you believe that we should just leave Iran at the state it's in and take the loss?
I honestly don't know. I definitely don't think that we should put boots on the ground, but I think that, I mean, yeah, we're probably going to pay higher for oil and gas, but maybe start looking for it somewhere else or something. I really don't know when it comes to that.
You're painting a bleak picture. I got to move it on there, Nate. I appreciate you coming up, but you're painting a bleak picture, man. You really, for somebody who's been in that region, you're not giving us much to have. You're making it sound like we've lost and it's not looking good going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's no winning or losing in a war like this, to be honest.
Wow. All right, I'll leave it at that. Nate, thanks for coming up.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Tap the screen, get the lights on up if you will. Of course, we lost the war, and it doesn't look good going forward, says Kurt. Yeah. Wow. What happened to the art of the deal? This guy was a master negotiator. What happened to that? Why not negotiate with them? To me, I think that this all came apart when he tore up the JCPOA. That was the time, if you thought Obama got us into a dumb deal, that was the time to try to do some more negotiating to correct that deal. Just tearing it up is where I believe the Trump administration fucked up. Because once you tore it up, they have no reason to really work with you. Let's say Obama gets up there and he does a dumb deal, which is what Trump is saying. Okay, he's put us in a bad predicament, but at the end of the day, it is America that made a deal with Iran. So we don't put our word on the dotted line. So what we got to do is then call up Iran and negotiate some other way. Maybe start trade with them at a level, maybe knock down their tariffs a few points or whatever, or maybe allow them to trade on the world stage with a few other countries. You got to sweeten the deal so that you could get a better deal than what Obama. Maybe Obama's, okay, under the Obama administration, maybe you believe they're still developing nukes, or maybe you believe that there's not enough checks and balances on paying attention, whatever the case may be. You don't get rid of the original deal because America put its name on the dotted line to that. You try to make another deal where you give them a little bit more and then you try to get the stuff that should have been included in the Obama deal. That's my opinion. Because that way you don't lose face. The way Trump did it, he's basically telling Iran you can't trust the United States. I mean, they actually signed on the dotted line with America and entered a deal, and the next president just came and tore the contract up, leading me to say what I always say. How do we know if we sign a deal with you, Mr. Trump, that the next president your country elects may not view it as a stupid deal and tear it up? How do we know we can trust your country? You have just let us know your country's word is only as good as the guy in the Oval Office. That's why I'm not a fan of Trump just tearing up the deal. He pretty much showed our word is not as good as the paper it's written on. Next guy may just get in there and say, yeah, they made a deal with you. That was a dumb deal. We're not going to honor it anymore. I think Trump should have tried to do that negotiating shit he claims he's good at to improve the Obama deal, not just tear it up. Why would they get into another negotiation with Trump after he did that? Why would the Iranians even negotiate with him after doing that? Would you trust them? I mean, so would you trust the country, by the way? Would you even trust the United States after he did that? Looking in the comments, I'm going to drop this poll and start another one, but almost 300 respondents who won the 2020 election. It's still very similar. Almost 300 respondents, 63% say Biden won the 2020 election, 37% say Trump. Wow. Wow. I'm only at almost 300 people. My guess is even if I went to 3,000 people, you're still going to probably get about 30% of them are going to say Trump won that 2020 election. And as I said, it ain't based on any actual evidence. That's amazing. That is amazing. Trump won the election. These people are delusional, says Roger. Well, Roger, if Trump won the election, what is the evidence? Where's the actual evidence, though? Is that something that we should not ask? Let me go back to the box, tap the screen. We'll go to Stick the Ruler. Good evening, Stick. Or what is it? Or maybe you out of your mind thinking we're winning this war. Who's saying we're winning the war right now? Stick, good evening.
Hey, what's going on, Tim? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm just still wondering how in 2026 people still think Trump won the 2020 election.
It's Trump derangement syndrome.
That's all it takes.
That's what they got. Says the one that came up with it, and also right after he came up with that slogan, ended up putting for child, stuff like that.
You were moving. So, I didn't hear that last part. Repeat that.
I said the same person that came up with the slogan Trump derangement syndrome. That's what they had, even though it was geared towards the Democrats. But he also, right after he came up with that slogan, was taken down for child, you know what? So,
well, I don't know. I just don't understand. I mean, I hear the Trump derangement syndrome claim or whatever, but I don't understand. I mean, we had Bush, we had Reagan. Where did the strong adoration and love for Trump come from? What did he do to get this type of love? Because he's not delivering as much as Reagan, and they love him more than Reagan. The country was being run, according to conservatives, it was being run much better than Reagan was, and they like Trump more than Reagan. So what is he doing to get this?
So he holds most high what they basically possess, which is their skin. He said the white sentiment in this country, he was worried about it. He asked whether you want the white president or the black president. He says what they think out loud in a racist manner. So they appreciate him being him in the sense of being totally racist.
So this is they're supporting Trump because he's promising white supremacy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and then you got people like MAGA Reacts who ain't even white, but if they would look at his passport, they would tell him the same thing they told Vic Ramaswamy. I can't even deal with you because of who you Arab or you Egyptian or African or whatever he wants to go by. I can't deal with you.
Well, MAGA Reacts is an Egyptian, but what do you think? He don't like black people?
No, what I'm saying is he one of those people that, regardless of what he looks like, he feels like he's one of them. He's got to come up with all of these different ideas of what Trump might have been saying, and he could have been, and it's a whole bunch of non-evidence over here. But I'm just gonna go with my feelings. See, they're the main ones in their feelings. The main ones, because they have no evidence. Hillary Clinton ain't locked up. Like, why y'all trying to lock her up? Why she ain't went down for nothing?
There was nothing there. I mean, it's the same thing. Trump has a way of telling you somebody is crooked or somebody is criminal or somebody's committing fraud, and they just believe it.
That's the point. Trump derangement syndrome. They believe everything and make excuses for him. Right now, real time, we listen to MAGA Reacts twist and bend himself into a pretzel. He showed me, and I'm telling everybody this, MAGA Reacts showed me and the handsome liberal where Trump at one point in his first term got the barrels of oil down to $20 a barrel and said, I quote, but he couldn't let them do that. That would ruin the oil industry. He had to make it to where the barrels were higher. This is the people that we're talking to. Something that doesn't make any sense, doesn't help you. You're Egyptian. You're not part of OPEC. Like I'm just sick of it, Tim. You're telling me he could get prices down in the sense of the barrels, $20 a barrel.
That's incredible. Wait, MAGA, you telling me, I don't remember that. You telling me MAGA Reacts said Trump could get the price of oil down to $20 a barrel?
No. I said
during the height of the pandemic under Trump's term, his first term, MAGA React showed me to where under Trump, the barrels of oil went down to $20 a barrel because nobody was driving, right? Nobody was using it.
Is that ain't true, is it?
Yes, it is true. He showed me the data. And I agreed with it. And the reason I agreed with it because that would be great for the American people. If right now barrels of oil was $20 a barrel.
But wait a minute, even if oil was $20 a barrel back then, I don't remember the price of gas dropping that low. $20 a barrel?
It didn't drop low as soon as it hit that $20 low. Trump came in and told Saudi Arabia.
Right, yeah, that is true. Okay, I remember. I do remember that. Now,
so now instead of us having a surplus, now we're going into a deficit, right? And which stabilized the price high. That's what I tried to tell MAGA React's dumbass. I tried to tell him, bro, that would have been great for the American people. But no, instead of leaving it like that and letting it just climb up on its own, because that's what the stock market does, he reacted and told them, hey, you need to lower it by 10 million barrels a day. Hence, that's why we're behind.
I do remember it now when you tell me, when you're telling me about, because he went and led OPEC nations to charge more. I do remember it now when you said it that way.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, MAGA, answer me this: when they were selling at $5 a barrel, was they still millionaires and billionaires? Yes. When they were selling it for $3 a barrel, were they millionaires and billionaires? Yes. So why wouldn't you think at $20 a barrel, or even $56 a barrel, why wouldn't you think they wouldn't be still millionaires? And it made no sense, none at all.
Yeah, but that's because they want to get infinitely wealthy. So there is never too much money for these people.
But what I'm trying to tell you is it had nothing to do with them, because we had a contract to keep buying it. But because it got so low, Trump said, oh no, if it keeps going this low, it's gonna mess up y'all business. Okay, who gives a damn? They millionaires and billionaires already. Everything is profit. Who cares?
They want
but
more
because
profit.
He wanted to make more profit and make them more money and make us pay more at the pump, he stabilized it at $56 a barrel. That's my point. It went from $20 to $56 a barrel.
Well,
that's where it got stabilized.
I mean, to be honest with you, that's his whole method of operation. He's doing that as president, getting rid of all kinds of programs for the poor and things like that. And meanwhile, he's getting all kinds of lavish gifts. And he's doing that now. There is just it's like an insatiable desire for wealth.
What I'm trying to tell you is, Tim, anybody that's tied to Trump, anybody that fell into it, everybody don't remember that he had a meeting with all the oil billionaires and asked for $1 billion.
I remember that.
All the oil tycoons he met with him.
He probably got it too.
That's my point. So if he's so busy playing checkers and chess and all this other shit, why can everybody see his moves, but ain't nobody doing shit about it? That's the problem that we're having. It's all of these motherfuckers that fell into line and became part of the Trump derangement syndrome in the government.
Well, but wait a minute. Maybe even though they may see Trump doing things that they would certainly call out as corrupt if Hillary or Biden did it, maybe at the end of the day, because they believe, like the drug dealer on the block or the mob boss in the neighborhood, he gives me turkeys at Christmas, or he does, believing that eventually he's going to do a little bit for the neighborhood. So it don't matter that you're out there pulling off capers and things like that.
Okay, so we've been waiting a year and a half, over a little bit a year and a half, right? And he ain't did shit for the neighborhood.
Well, they believe that you got to wait a little bit longer.
No. The other lady that was the queen of the neighborhood, she told you, if you let this demon in, this is what he gonna do. And systematically, he's done everything that this queen of the neighborhood said he was gonna do.
Yeah, but your queen of the neighborhood, being Kamala Harris, she wasn't promising enough to get anybody's attention.
No. It's just like with any queen. I hope you seen the Bumpy Johnson movie
I don't think I've
because
seen that.
when he was younger, how he was up under a woman, but the woman wasn't respected. Just like the woman ain't respected today. So
I don't know. I actually, what you and I already disagreed. You already know how I feel. I think this woman was not a good candidate. I don't think she sold herself well.
Yeah.
I don't think she held interviews well. I don't think she was a good candidate for the time, and she didn't have a lot of time, which was not fair to her either. Biden also screwed her by only giving her 107 days and refusing to step down.
I'm gonna say it again, Tim. How about this? This is Trump's first term. This one right here. And he already beat Ms. Harris. Now this time, after all what was said and all what was done, Ms. Harris runs again and has to face Trump again. Who gonna win?
I think she would be more competitive with him now than she was back then if she gives. Hold on, let me fit. I'm trying to. I think she would be more competitive. I'm not saying win because you don't know, but I'm gonna say she would be a lot more competitive. I would be willing to bet more on her winning this time if she gave more refined interviews. She did more interviews. She would have a lot more time to talk, a lot more time to be out there, a lot more time to correct stuff. I think she would be a lot better this time because she would have a lot more than just 107 days.
Hold on. So let me get this straight. So in 107 days, she told you everything that Trump was going to do. She told you what she would do when she got in office. But for some reason, just because it wasn't a whole 2 and 3 years and she wasn't ramming it in your goddamn head every goddamn day lying to you, that she's now a better candidate because she got more time to ram shit in your head.
No.
Look, if you're paying attention.
You got that wrong.
Listen, if you're paying attention, you're paying attention. What I paid attention to while she was in office and while she was running, and those 100 days was everything that she said would happen right now happened.
Okay.
So
but
again,
here's where you're getting it wrong. Here's where you're getting it wrong. Here's where you're getting it wrong. She was asked, what are you going to do if you become president? What would you do different from Biden? She didn't have a single thing to say. That's a terrible answer.
No, it's not. And the reason why it's not, is because in the first place, Biden was getting the country back in the direction that it needed to be in. The so-called border issue could have been handled bipartisanly. So if she would have did it bipartisanly and had it all the way around the board, that border deal, the border would have been no more, right? That wouldn't have been an issue. But Trump wanted to run on it, so they didn't do what they were supposed to do. So again, everything else, I don't give a damn what you want to talk about. He was already fixing it.
I'm going to tell you.
She don't need to change shit.
Let me tell you. Well, that's bullshit. What do you mean? When you look at what Biden's poll numbers were, how the hell are you going to look at them poll numbers and say, I don't need to change shit? People clearly are not happy. Your poll, that ain't just MAGA. Your poll numbers are very low, like Trump right now. If you had J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio and they were asked, well, what are you going to do if you win? I'm going to do the same thing Trump. His poll numbers are like 20 or 30 right now. You got to change some shit. And Biden's poll numbers were terrible, and she's like, I do the same thing.
No, why do I need to change anything in the direction?
Because people ain't happy. Because his poll numbers are not like that.
Listen, Tim, I'm gonna tell you just like Trump probably gonna tell you. I believe that the direction of the country is going in the right way. Sit back, shut up. What is it? Short-term pain for long-term gain. Shut the fuck up. Because guess what? We was on the up and up. When Trump took over, the gas was still in the $2 range, right? $2.50, $2.30s, shit like that. Now where is it?
So you believe that was the right answer to give? You believe that was the right answer to give?
I believe what?
You believe I wouldn't do nothing different from Biden was the right answer to give at that moment?
Yes, because the country was going in the right direction.
Wow.
Why do I need to change shit?
All right.
Again, Trump came in. I'm gonna give you one good example. Trump came in his first term after Obama had fixed everything. He didn't touch shit. He didn't have to say, I ain't gonna touch shit. He didn't touch shit. He didn't do nothing for the economy. He had nothing booming. There was no deals and trades and all this other fuck shit. And if he did, he was tearing up his own shit. Like that was later on. Come on.
Even people on the left were complaining how bad that answer was.
With the economy that he inherited from Obama, he did nothing. That's my point. So the same way he did nothing and it just was booming, the same thing was going on under Joe Biden. Why am I gonna change shit?
Let me ask. Okay, hold on. Let me ask the viewers, by way of yes or no, how many of you folks, if you agree with my caller, if you agree with Stick, type in yes. How many of you folks agree that I wouldn't do anything different from Biden was the right answer to give at that moment with Biden's low poll numbers? If you agree with him, type yes, that I wouldn't do nothing different from Biden. I'm just curious to see, because I think that was crazy. That's my opinion. Yeah, I see a lot of them.
Listen, the Science and Chips Act, then you had the PACT Act, you got all the infrastructure bill. Like, all of this stuff is going on under Biden that's helping the country. People are still getting fed. People are still getting their benefits. People are still getting anything that they got from the military. Like, matter of fact, the HBCUs got billions, not millions, billions with a B.
Yeah.
Like, what am I changing? Oh, he put all of these black women, like Ms. Harris, in all of these judge positions and different things. Why am I going to change shit, bro? What are we talking about?
We're talking about a lot of unhappy Americans. Twisted. Hold on, hang on. Twisted. What brought you up?
All right. In reference to what Stick was saying and Tim, you have to stop saying Kamala was not a bad candidate.
She answered the questions wrong. She didn't go on shows. She didn't talk. She knew she was losing white male voters, and she done nothing to curtail it.
No. She didn't have enough time. That is the problem. She was a perfect candidate. She just didn't have enough time because the Biden administration didn't allow her enough time. They were still stuck on about saying he could run another second term, but he had medical issues though that was like happening now.
I'm just telling you, I'm amazed at how many of you folks think that I wouldn't do anything different from Biden was the right answer to give, because the left realized it. She said that on The View, which is a very left-leaning show, and even the contestants, the host of The View was like, she really let us down saying that. The black woman on The View, Sunny Hostin, even she said that was a bad answer.
And what's the thing that everybody wants to change? Give it to me.
Yeah.
First of all, the whole gender thing was pissing off enough people, even some Democrats, by the way, not getting that stuff straight, not knowing what a woman was. An issue that was blown up way more than it should be, but it was an issue, and she didn't say she was going to change anything on that. The border was a major issue still. She wasn't going to change anything on that. What are you about to say?
So what you're saying is, because a certain group feels that he should do something about people existing, he should listen to that shit, probably self-denying, wanting to be part of, but scared to even come out and expose themselves type people. He should listen to those people.
No, but you can't
listen to the actual ones that's pointing the finger, but probably over there doing something they ain't supposed to be doing with the same shit going on.
So you believe? What I'm telling you is this: the Democrats were asked under oath to describe what a woman is, and they couldn't do it. You think that was the right response to that?
Check this out. I don't know what Democrats you talking about, but I'm a Democrat / I found out, I told you the other day, that I'm a liberal because of the beliefs of a liberal, right? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, like, right, when you get one person to get up there and react a certain way, and then you label a whole group of people behind that, You the person that's fucked up. You should look at that one person and say, well, I asked a Democrat this, and she said, she gave me a confusing answer. Are you a Democrat? Yeah, I'm a Democrat. Can you tell me what you think a woman is? And then that Democrat should tell you. Now, mind you, everybody ain't the same.
Wait, it's interesting you would say everybody ain't the same and you speak out against labeling. Well, half of my audience is labeling all of MAGA as racist. That's exactly what happens in politics, People label.
I'm part of that percentage. I'm part of that percentage that say a lot of MAGA is racist. So what I am saying is this. Don't tell me I didn't say all. I said some. You said Democrats.
So you're okay labeling them. You don't want them labeling you.
No. What I said was we ain't trying to do the word game, but I want you to realize what I said, like with the thing with the black with the S on the end. What I said was this. If just because you get one information from one person that claims to be a Democrat or is a Democrat, doesn't mean that all of them across the board are the same like that person. Okay. Like with Gen X, he thinks liberals are people with blue hair. Me and you, we ain't even got no hair. What the fuck?
I get it. Listen, I got to host a show here. I'm not totally disagreeing with you. I do have a show to host. So
I'm just saying, he thinks that all liberal women look like Roseanne Barr with blue hair. And has the tendency.
You know the crazy thing is Roseanne Barr is far fucking right. I think that was for Takesha, so I'll go in. But it's crazy you say Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr is about as far right as you can get. And she got blue hair.
Okay, but just with blue hair. That's my point. So that's what I'm trying to say. You know, like all people ain't the same. All of us don't think alike. That's why Democrats argue more amongst each other than they do with somebody else. Because guess what we do? We say, oh, you got an issue? Bring it over here to us. We'll try to help you fix that. Oh, you got an issue? Oh, bring it over here. Republicans, man, we ain't trying to help you. Man, you better put your damn shoes on.
Hold on. In the comments, I got to move on from you, Stick, but real quick before I do, Carmen9 in the comments says you're thinking of Rosie O'Donnell. Are you saying Roseanne Barr of the Roseanne Show has blue hair, or are you talking about?
I'm talking about Rosie O'Donnell, Roseanne Barr.
Those are two different people.
Listen, I'm talking about the lady, what's the lady name? Dog. See, anybody that looks butch, I'm just gonna be honest.
So does either one of them really have blue hair?
No.
Oh.
What I'm trying to tell you is.
Okay. All right.
The image that he has of a liberal woman is a person that's shaped like Rosie O'Donnell, Roseanne Barr, and anybody like that with a goddamn vest on, with a rainbow shirt, with a nose piercing and blue hair. He think all of them look like that. I sent him liberal celebrities. Beyonce came up, Aaliyah came, like all of these beautiful ass people came up, and he got that image of a liberal woman in his head. I'm done.
Fair enough. All right, Stick. And there are people like that. I can't, if you got an image in your head that liberals equal fat and overweight, I mean, there's a lot of MAGA guys that are fat and overweight. So yeah, but that's the images. I don't like liberals, so my image of them is going to be something that's unattractive. And like he pointed out, Beyonce is a liberal. I mean, so is Taylor Swift. They're not unattractive and they're not overweight. So nothing you can do about that. Takesha, good evening.
Hey, Tim.
Yes, ma'am.
Why did Marsha Blackburn ask Ketanji Brown Jackson what a woman was?
Because they knew they had her trapped. There was a gotcha question, and they knew that she was going to try to squeeze in a defense for the LGBTQ, so she couldn't answer it right.
That's not why they asked her.
That's what I believe the answer is.
They asked her that question so she could say what a woman was that's described in that we think a woman is, so they could say that she would be biased if a transgender had a case in court. Okay. Y'all need to stop saying that lady don't know what a woman is. She knew they was trying to trip her up. That's why she didn't answer.
But that's the same. You're making the same point.
No.
Yes.
You're supposed to be a liberal, but you keep acting like a Republican. Stop it.
I know. I understand.
I'm that damn serious. Because I'm really sick of it.
Well,
stop doing that, Tim.
I'm not doing anything. I understand.
Just like Marguerite Axe got up here today and talked two ways. Marguerite Axe said they get homeless people, taking them to the voting booth, promising them a meal if they vote Democrat. But he had no smoke for Elon Musk paying folks $1 million to vote for Trump.
I can't argue with that. But I'm not acting. I am pushing back because I told him it made no sense.
Back but that damn
chip. Twisted, is she off? Twisted, is she off for a rocket? She's not judging me, right? Is she?
Hey, I cannot fight her. She is right.
She is not right. What the hell?
You are wrong because she is right.
MAGA.
Holy shit, man. How many times you gotta say my name today? That's not what I said. I said they were harvesting their mail-in ballots. I didn't say they took them to no fucking booth. If they took them to a booth, I would be okay. If they took them to the
yes,
booth.
ma'am.
They harvest their fucking ballots.
And he said that people going to jail for doing that. He said somebody go to jail every year for taking their
ballots. We're talking about mail-in fucking ballots. We're not talking about them going to a booth. I would be okay with that.
You know exactly what your ugly ass was saying.
You can't put 300 people in a car.
You know what your ugly ass
was saying. Put 300 ballots from homeless shelter in your fucking car and take them to the booth.
Maga bite my ass. You know exactly what you was trying to say.
Stop twisting my words.
I'm not twisting the ROTC.
You just said they took them to a booth. How are you going to put 300 people in a car?
I've never had somebody tell me to bite their ass.
500 at a time. You can't
You're
put 500 homeless people in the car and take them to a booth.
You made it seem like they're going to get these folks, promising them a meal to vote for Democrat.
Exactly, and they take their fucking ballots from the homeless shelter.
Well, you know, for me,
the people that fucking lady just went up and votes, mail-in votes, is about how many homeless people are in shelter.
Well, as I told you when you said that, as MAGA, as I told you when you said that, I'm not hearing of any crime. If you're taking or helping homeless people register to vote and doing it, that's not against the law.
Tim, can I ask you a question?
Hold on, MAGA. Go ahead, Takesha.
How long has California been taking days to count their votes?
It ain't been that long ago. I mean, they just cast the ballots. I don't know how many days it's been.
I said how.
Oh, how long has that been happening?
Yeah.
A long time.
Okay, so why is it a problem? Because Trump boy didn't get in.
Every
time Trump boy don't get in, there is a problem. Trump boy didn't get in. Now all of a sudden these folks committing fraud for something they've been doing for years.
But MAGA, you know she is correct. You hold on, hang on a second. MAGA, you know she is correct. Anytime Trump loses, or it looks like he's losing, he alleges fraud. He's been doing that since he came down the golden escalator. Every election that don't go his way, he's alleging fraud. You would agree with that, right?
Yeah, but I did not come up here and say because Trump said so. Do I ever use those words? Because you always use them. I never fucking come up here and say because Trump said so.
The reason people are bringing up
I've
because
never in my life come up here and said
you don't need to do that, because the reason people are attributing that to you is because before Trump came along, there was not all these widespread claims of fraud in every damn election. This was not happening.
What about the 2000 election? That was another one.
That wasn't nowhere near. That was that hanging Chad shit
and
between.
What about the JFK election?
No,
where the fucking mafia made
Trump is claiming election fraud and down ballot races and everything. He's claiming fraud, and when Dr. Oz ran against Fetterman, he said it was fraud. He's claiming fraud every fucking where.
And Tim, let me say this.
Has a very long history of fraud. This is way before Trump.
But he ain't providing no evidence on none of these races. Not a single evidence.
It needs to be investigated, and usually the winner doesn't want to
Why
investigate.
can't he? Go ahead, Takesha. Go ahead. Yes, Takesha. Go ahead.
Let me say this. When Elon Musk and Donald Trump was into it, and Elon was doing all that talking, and Elon came out and said what the real numbers in Congress was supposed to be. That's why we're saying something was fishy with 2024.
Yeah, but there's no harvesting in the states where
Like I
Elon was
said,
doing his job.
if Elon can tell us,
And you guys had
the
just as
numbers
much,
that
you had more
Congress-
money than us.
If Elon can tell us the numbers Congress was really supposed to be, how would he know that?
Because he fucking made a good guess. It's a good
Yeah, I know he did.
damn guess.
I know he did. Yeah, I know he did.
He's one of the smartest men in the world.
Yeah, I know he did.
The richest man in the world.
Yeah, whatever, child. Whatever.
He made a good guess. I was not expecting you to say
I don't
that.
even know exactly what you're even talking about.
Yeah, I
Just
know
because
you don't. You'll
predicted
never
that
know
Trump
that.
won,
You'll
like, an
never
hour
know
ahead
that
of
that's
time.
real. Yeah. Why Trump on
Hell,
True
I just
Social?
told you Trump was gonna
Why
win.
Trump on True Social looking for his chess pieces? Cause you know y'all say he playing chess instead of checkers, begging Iran and Israel to stop fighting. But you the man of the hour, baby. Black.
All right, folks, I do gotta move it on, but briefly I want to ask, Trump is attending the Knicks game tonight. They
gonna boo him right on back at the arena. Go somewhere. He want to go to see if he don't get a reception like Obama get. Trump stay at home and quit bothering them folks.
He is a lifelong New Yorker. He's a fan of the
They
team.
don't like him, Tim.
Why would you not like a man that's paying thousands of dollars to come see you as a fan?
Cause you stole from the folks. You still owe them folks money. Them folks don't like you.
And I see in the
What
comments,
does that have to do with the Knicks?
Wait on the booze. Wait on them.
if the Knicks lose, if the
You
Knicks
gonna
lose,
think it's Halloween.
if the
Let me
Knicks,
tell you
hold on,
something,
if the
I'ma
Knicks,
tell you this and then I'm finna go.
hold on,
Let me
before
say
you,
this and then
before you do, if the Knicks lose tonight, tell me they're not gonna blame it on Trump.
Hell yeah, it's gonna be his fault. That's what I'm gonna tell you.
Yep.
Every time Donald Trump came to an Alabama Crimson Tide game, we lost. We started begging him not to come.
Hey, so
He
put
a
all
jinx.
your money against the Knicks.
He's a jinx.
Put money on the Spurs.
All right.
He's a jinx.
All right, Takesha, appreciate you coming through. Thank you. All right, MAGA reacts, and I got to drop you two there, Twisted. But MAGA, somebody has a question for you. Real talk.
All right. Hey, what's good? So, Margaret, I got a question for you. So, I had waited, right, after I told you what I had said when I was first up here. And I saw you in the comments, and I said it several times that you was in the comments. And I said to myself that I'm going to just sit here and stay on this live and wait to see if you jump up to what somebody said, and then I was going to send another guy saying, come up. Did you research that Berkeley's research group, what I told you about?
No, why would I do that right now? I only have been on here for like an hour. I'm fucking listening and talking.
But you want to know, right? Don't you want to know if Trump is hiding stuff? If he's actually telling the truth? Don't you want to know that?
They may not believe the
I
sources.
had a chance to do it in the last like 30 minutes to an hour while I was talking with everybody.
Bruh,
When did I have time to do that?
Bro, you came up here with defending election fraud and all that, bro. Like, you telling me somebody told you that, because you said that you didn't know about it. So I asked you, this is the question that I asked you,
I've
right?
looked into other investigations. They don't only have access to the demographics, and even then, that could only tell you so much.
Okay, let's go with that. You know how Trump came out and was telling everybody it was fraud. It was rampant fraud. You know how he was doing that? Now I ask you this question, right? If he personally hired somebody and paid his own money for it, why wouldn't he tell his supporters about the results that he had paid for? Why wouldn't he do that?
It's a good question.
I don't know. I mean, he wasn't even president at the time anymore.
Okay,
That don't got nothing to do with him being president.
So let me ask you this question. We're going back to looking at that suspicious person walking around your car. If you saw that person, you don't saw that person breaking your car, you gonna say that, right? Like, cause you might go out there and be getting on that person's case. Like, you might have your firearm or whatever. You going out there, you get on that person's case. Somebody coming outside saying, "Why you doing that person like that?" Ain't you gonna tell them why? Ain't you gonna tell them what you found out, what you know?
I guess this is a shitty metaphor.
Hold on, Let me just say, he makes it.
It's because the metaphor.
No. Hold on. Let me say this. He does make a good point. If you hired your own private investigators to look into the election, why didn't you tell the people what they found? Now, in reality, they found that he actually lost by more than they originally thought. He went quiet on it. I mean, that is a good point. If you say it's stolen,
popular vote in Georgia, what state? I gotta look at the numbers.
Arizona.
Say something I know nothing about.
It was in Arizona.
Check this out.
So
the man
find more votes.
Man, hold on. Let me tell you, bro. The man who Trump hired, he came and testified. He came and testified because he said that Trump had hired them to find voter fraud.
Yes.
In the election. That's what he said. That's what he said. He testified and said that he came back and told Trump that they couldn't find none. Oh, if a case said be like that. And Trump paid them a lot of money. I think it was like almost $1 million, about $1 million, or something like that. Paid these people a lot of money. So my thing is, like, if you support this man, right, and this man is out there saying stuff.
What did they find that proves he lost? You said they didn't find fraud.
Okay, listen. I'm gonna say it again. Hear me out. Hear me clear.
They couldn't find shit because you need the FBI to find it.
Hear me clear. Then, bro, why would he hire them to find it then if they couldn't find nothing, bro? Like, so that means that what you just said then. Hold on, bro. Check this out, though. But check this out, though.
Grasping at straws.
But check this out, though. What you just said, you said how they gonna find something because of this, because of that. What you said right now, Michael Riaz, hold on, bro.
Someone thinks their family's murdered and the cops are not looking up into it. They hire their own private eye.
Bro, but what you saying right now is that you smarter than Trump, and Trump was dumb for hiring these goddamn people. Cause how the hell they gonna do it and they ain't got the skills? When he run the government, he should know that, and you didn't run the government, but you knew that.
No, they could have found something. Most likely they weren't, but they could have, and why not? When you have billions and you hire these people for a couple of million to look into it,
here's where I think the disconnect.
The FBI is the only one that's like.
Here's where I think. Hold on. Hang on, gentlemen. Here's where I think the disconnect is from MAGA versus the left and things like that. I think the left is saying, if you're making allegations, then show us proof of what you're claiming. The right tends to believe if I'm making allegations, you need to go out and prove what I'm alleging is not true. So, but the right tends to believe if Trump said something, you should start off at the standpoint of you are guilty of what he is accusing you of until you can prove to me you're innocent. So you got to go out and prove that what he is saying is not true. So that's where I think the difference is. You guys want us to prove what he's saying is not true. We want you to prove what he's saying is true.
Okay, Megan Reyes, let me ask you this question right quick.
Either way.
Okay, let me ask you this question real quick.
To prove that he fucking lost 100%, I'll be with you. But
real quick. Let me ask you this question.
Where's my Mueller report?
That's what I was going to. God is good. That's what I was going to. The Mueller report. So Trump didn't get caught on the Mueller report, though, right? Like they ain't find nothing on Trump. So you can agree, right? We both can agree, right? That was a hoax, right? Like they were just trying to get Trump.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. They went after Biden and didn't find nothing on Biden. So we both also can agree that was a hoax too, right?
Wait, who went after Biden? Who looked into what? What are you talking about?
When they were talking about the crime family, when the Republicans was having a Biden impeachment trials on the hearings or whatever case they be like that, they didn't find nothing on Biden like they didn't find on Trump. So what they did to Biden was the same thing that you were saying the Biden administration did to Trump, right? It was a hoax, right?
Yeah, but at least they looked into it. They didn't look into the 2020 election. But still, that's the fucking... There's a difference between the FBI looking into it, which I don't know how much work the FBI did. I do remember that fucking Hunter Biden got to empty out his fucking storage and a bunch of shit like that before.
But when they was calling Biden was the big guy, calling Biden the big guy, that wasn't never proven, right?
Yeah, that wasn't proven.
So it was a hoax, right?
I guess it just wasn't proven.
What about Hillary Clinton? Was that a hoax too?
What?
You guys said Hillary Clinton was corrupt and locked her up and all that. Was that a hoax as well?
I don't know. It wasn't proven either way.
Right.
That she was.
So one thing we can say is Trump makes a lot of allegations that ain't proven. I mean, because he was saying all of that stuff.
Tim, this is the problem. Every time I think something and Trump repeats it, all of a sudden it came from Trump, and it's fucking frustrating.
Because we don't think you're thinking it.
Bro, you said the election was too big to rig.
2
bro.
minutes.
Did you say that first, or did Trump say that first?
Right, that's the point.
The lead, the difference, the win.
Bro, look, bro, I'm asking you a question, bro. When you said it was too big to rig on the first time we was talking, did you say that first, or Trump said that first?
That one might have been Trump. But
Might
that's
have
sort of like a cheerleading thing. But that has to do with the
Like, how do you not know? How do you?
How much
Then how can you sit here and say? How can you sit here and say that somebody be making it seem like Trump said something first when you said it first? When I just literally asked you that question and you said, "Oh, maybe he would have said it first." So maybe everything you saying, maybe he said it first.
No, some things I say, Trump repeats, and some things Trump say I agree with, and I repeat. Sometimes
check this out.
Sometimes I say it first. When it
So
comes
check
to
this out. I
say that shit on day one.
I always watch Trump reruns, right? I mean, not Trump reruns. My bad, Mr. Tim. I'm talking about you.
Hold on, before you say that, News Nation is announcing, I think you guys already kind of knew this, Spencer Pratt, the Republican running in California that's leading Trump to say they're cheating, he's been knocked out of the race. So it's only Democrats.
Oh, that's rapid fraud.
Yeah.
We need all kind of investigations right now. Well, how much percent it was, Tim? How much percent it was?
People voted.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, wrap it up. I gotta move on, gentlemen.
Let me say this last thing before I go.
Go ahead.
Magarias, I can bet you any kind of money that I can go back on Mr. Tim Lives on his reruns and find multiple things that you said that Trump said it first. You want to bet me some money on that?
How do you know Trump
Because I
said
watch
it
all
first?
of them.
Hold on, how do you know Trump said it first?
I watch all because when you say it, when you repeat it, it's exactly how he said it.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
First of all, like, you would have to find like a tweet of me before a tweet of Trump.
I actually think he
I don't
could.
know how you're gonna do all that.
I gotta move it on, Mac, but I actually think he could
one
do
last
that.
thing. Too big to fail has nothing to do with the size of the election. It has to do with how much the winner won by. Trump had too big of a margin in 2024 and in 2016. The margin in 2020 and in 2000 was so little.
That could just mean that could just mean more people cheated. You could, if we cheat by only a small margin, they're not gonna believe us. So I need more of you to cheat.
It's harder to cheat by a big margin and not get caught.
That's your
It's easy
opinion.
to
It's hard to cheat on an election, period. So I gotta move it on though.
Tim.
Okay, in your opinion, let me just move it on though. Pimp says, "Oh my God, shut him up. He's entitled to speak." Tap the screen, get us up to 80,000. We'll take the next caller. Look, I'm just gonna say what I keep saying over and over again. This stuff would make a lot more sense if Trump was able to provide proof. As you heard my last guest tend to believe that if Trump makes some kind of allegation, it's your responsibility to prove the allegation is false. I don't buy that. Now he's saying, well, I said it, not Trump, which many folks in the audience pointed out, well, you sure sound a lot like Trump. The stuff you're claiming you said, if you go back far enough, which my other guest was saying, I'd bet you money, and I agree with him, by the way, that the stuff MAGA-Reacts is saying came from Trump first. You just didn't have this huge insurgence of people saying the elections were stolen until Trump came on. Notice when they're bringing up their election fraud or claims of stolen elections happened, they bring it up Al Gore and Bush, that back in 2000. No, so that shows you it ain't been happening a lot. You got to go all the way back to 2000, or then he went back to John F. Kennedy or some shit like that. Trump is claiming fraud in every election, even the midterms and shit. Every election that happens, he's claiming fraud in it. It's just not happening at that level without him showing some kind of evidence, in my opinion. It would make a lot more sense if he was providing evidence and not getting caught in so many things that are proven false. And by the way, in regards to saying that the FBI didn't investigate the case enough, as my other caller pointed out, cyber ninjas, Trump hired his own investigators. Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy, did an investigation. And Mike Lindell actually said he was going to prove, what was it called? The Cyber Symposium. I watched this shit. It was like 3 days of this. And he said he was going to prove that Trump had the election stolen from him. And if you could show flaws in his proof, he would give you $5 million. He did his cyber symposium, and one of his own engineers sued him for that $5 million. Took him to court and won. Took him to court. One of his own hires took him to court and won the $5 million. Showed that in your proof of Trump winning the election, you got stuff wrong. And Mike Lindell had to give one of his own engineers $5 million. That's the My Pillow guy that Trump wants to give some of the, what is this called? Anti-defamation fund or whatever he's getting from the IRS. That guy tried to say that Trump won, did it. Same thing with Sheriff Joe Arpaio trying to say Obama was born in Kenya. I watched this shit too. These folks just coming and spending their own money trying to defend this stuff that Trump is saying. And it's costing them money and costing them their own careers and shit. It's crazy that they're doing this. I don't get it. Because Sheriff Joe Arpaio ended up being charged with felonies and shit. Trump had to pardon him to save him from going to prison. I don't get why these folks are doing that. Anyway, looking in the comments, just because Trump said it, that's all they're going on is just because Trump said it. Mike Lindell spent $5 million of his own money just trying to defend something Trump made up. Was Trump right? This is a poll. It's ongoing right now. The question is, was Trump right about Iran being weeks away from getting a nuke, getting a nuclear weapon? Over 100 votes so far, a little bit over 100 contestants or respondents rather, respondents. 73% says no. No, he was not right about Iran being weeks away from getting a nuke. 27% says yes. I think that's probably about accurate too. When I say accurate, I mean, because my polls are obviously just a small, tiny data sample. But when I say that's about accurate, I mean you could expand this poll 10, 100 times, 1,000 times, and I think it would still be somewhere in that range. 73% say no, 27% says yes, because 27% kind of represents MAGA. Kind of represents MAGA in terms of our politically astute voters in this country. About 27 to 30% of our voters are MAGA. And they're going to, yeah, that's about right. Same thing when I asked the other question, who won the 2020 election? About 30% say that Trump won that election. That's it. When you get them results that are in that range, that's MAGA. That 30% range is a MAGA. Looking in the comments, Trump is attracted to liberal women low key. He's 80. At 80, you're attracted to anybody that'll give you a second glance. You know he ain't tagging Melania. He's 80. I'm sure the woman who was interviewing him on Meet the Press, Christine, whatever her name is, I'm sure she ain't ugly to him. I mean, when you 80, shit, anybody in their 40s, you got to be pretty fucked up in your 40s to not look attractive to an 80-year-old dude that's turning colors. I mean, of course, I'm sure she is. I'm sure he is attracted to some of those folks. Just like Caitlin Collins of CNN, she's actually attractive in her own right. But certainly if you're 80, I'm sure she looks attractive to him. His favorite song is YMCA, Go Figure. What do you say? He's gay. Miss Mombetta, tap the screen, get the likes on up to 80. Speaking of 80, get us up to 90. We'll go to the next caller. We'll go straight over here to Robert in a minute. But until then, we'll go tap the screen, get the likes on up to 90,000, if you will. Dencal, good evening. Oh, Dencal's not coming up there. Let me see what I make sure I didn't miss anything here. Tap the screen, get the likes up. Help your boy out with the hat and mustache TikTok cap goes. No love today, huh? No love at all whatsoever, huh? Wow. Anyway, looking in the comments here, Democrats, you got issues. Come here, sell out. What does that mean, Rudy? Democrats, you got issues. Issues in what way? And I don't know what you mean by come here, sell out. That doesn't make sense. The Lord in these days exhorts his beloved children to enter the new earth. What the fuck? I think 3/4 of MAGA is racist because 3/4 of the white Caucasian in the Midwest is losing their farms, but the black farmers are holding on. That would make them racist if they're losing their farms and blacks are not? You think 75% of MAGA are racist? You think it's that high? That's a lot. Wow. That's a lot. Yes, economy was headed the right direction. That is true that under Biden, the economy was headed in the right direction, but I still vehemently disagree with those who suggest that Kamala Harris should have said, I won't do anything different than Biden. I don't think that's ever a good answer to give, unless this person is, like I said, Biden's poll numbers were low enough that obviously people want something different. Now, that's not to say, let's listen, Biden's economy, things are increasing. I agree with that. But there's obviously something there that people are not happy about. You need to give them a little bit more bait. Put a little bit more, sweeten the pot a little bit more. His poll numbers ain't that low for a reason. And I really think that she should have had something prepared to say, as opposed to, I won't change anything. People did not want him in it. And it wasn't the June 27 debate. People were not that happy about Biden going back several months before that poor June 27 debate. So to get up there and say you wouldn't do anything different, and I see in the comments, K.A. Rock says, in other words, lie. You could, yeah, I guess that's a good way of putting it. If you're not going to do anything different than Biden, I'll give you a good example. Vivek Ramaswamy, the guy who's running for governor of Ohio right now, when he was running for president, all of them folks that were trying to run against Trump, he was asked that question: what would you do different from President Trump? Now, you know Vivek Ramaswamy is nothing but riding on Trump's coattails. Even he had an answer that didn't say nothing, though. He actually gave an answer. I forgot what it was, but he didn't respond with nothing. That's just a terrible answer to give. That's just listen, but even though I believe President Biden has gotten us on the right path, certainly significantly better than his predecessor, who I think was destroying the country, I believe that we should strengthen our military. That's a safe answer. There's a lot of safe answers she could give that wouldn't hurt Biden, her boss, and nobody would have a problem with it. I mean, I want to strengthen the military as an answer that's going to work no matter. Look, I am a big proponent of equality. I understand that some folks have issues in that direction. I understand I am always going to be for equality. That ain't hurting Biden. I mean, there's all types of just spinning a little bit. That's all. You can't get up there and say I wouldn't do nothing different when his poll numbers are in the tank like that. Biden's economy is improving, but I got a few tricks up my sleeve. Do like Trump. Say some shit with no evidence of how you're going to do it. I got a few tricks up my sleeve that's going to take it even further. Just say some wild shit like, you're a politician. Politic. That's what they do. You don't get up there and say I wouldn't do nothing. I don't know. I think that, to me, I think the answer she gave was bad. That's just my opinion. I guess the Democrats cannot lie. That's why they lost. Well, I didn't have sex with that woman was not honest. You want your doctor, you can keep your doctor was not honest. That Democrats don't always tell the truth. But look, you're a politician. I don't think Senator John Edwards, when he was running, would have answered that question like that. I don't even think Obama would have answered that question like that. I think Obama knows how to speak. I don't think Obama would have got up there and said, I won't change nothing from a guy whose poll numbers are in the tank like that. Look, there's just a way. You're a politician. You're supposed to know how to answer questions without answering questions. You're supposed to know how to spin without giving the appearance of spinning. I just think there's a ton of better answers she could have gave without hurting Biden whatsoever. I'm going to make sure women understand, not that they didn't understand under Biden, but I'm going to reiterate and make sure that they know how strongly we are for equality for both women and men. She ain't hurting nobody. She's answering the question without saying shit, but she's not saying I ain't going to do nothing. I could come up with a million of these things to give her stuff. Shit. Bloviate. That's what they do. They say a lot of shit without saying anything. Look out when they ask Trump questions, like when she was asking him, what evidence do you have that the election was stolen? He had 5 minutes of conversation that included nothing, but he had 5 minutes of conversation. He was ready with 5 minutes of conversation. You don't answer nothing. It's just terrible answer. That's like, you go for a job interview. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, I'm pretty happy where I am now. That's a terrible answer. You gotta have something to throw in there. I don't know. I'm surprised you guys think I'm getting this wrong. Anyway, looking in the comments, Some reason this is not scrolling. I wouldn't have done nothing. That's just an excuse they had to not vote for her. Well, true, but there were plenty of liberals that thought that was a bad answer as well. Like I said, she gave that answer on The View, and even some of the most liberal hosts of The View said that was a bad answer to give. The left, everybody in here is defending that answer. When she gave that answer, it was not a whole lot of people on the left saying, yeah, that was the right thing to say. Even the left thought that was a bad answer to give. That's all I'm saying. Where you see yourself in 5 years, I don't see myself anywhere. Act like you can, look, I want to be better at what I do. I'm coming, my job here, I believe there's all sorts of areas I can improve on. I'm not a know-it-all. And I believe this is just the establishment that I can have, that I'm applying for employment where you guys will take me to the next level. And that may not even be where I want to end up, but I want to make sure I improve myself. My goal is to always be improving. You're sitting across from that guy. Schmooze that guy. Run some politics on him. You're a politician. I don't want to do nothing different. Yeah. I'm not defending it. She could have gave a great answer and they would have still voted for Trump. True. I'm not saying they would not have, but we're talking about MAGA. We're not talking about independents and liberals. When you got liberals and independents on television and they're not cheerleading for you, that does not look good. That does not look good. You're never going to get MAGA. Kamala Harris was never going to get MAGA. But when you give answers like that, you're putting yourself at risk for losing some independents, and you're not even pleasing the conservatives, is what I'm saying. Let me go back to the box. And are we at 90? Yeah. Tap the screen. We'll go to Cam Beasy. Why aren't you talking about the debate where she cooked Trump? She did cook Trump. Walked out there, shook his hand and everything. Hi, I'm Kamala Harris. Kamala was proud during the debate. Like I said, she was not a good candidate, in my opinion, in terms of talking to the people. She did very well at the debate. Yeah, I don't think it's that hard to beat Trump in debates. All you got to do is hold him accountable for honesty, and he's going to fall apart. I mean, like the eating cats and dogs. He did terrible at that debate. But when Trump is out there on rallies and shit like that, he knows how to schmooze, and that's where the problem is. Cam Beasy, good evening.
Hey, how we doing?
I'm doing good. What am I getting wrong? Was Kamala Harris, was she a good candidate in your opinion?
Yeah, Tim, you're getting it wrong. Tim, come on, man.
Talk to me.
So let's talk about it. If she was a bad candidate, Trump was a terrible candidate.
Okay. I think Trump, in my opinion, was a good candidate. And I'll tell you why. I believe as a politician, your job is to sell yourself to the people. It doesn't matter what's on your resume whatsoever, because I don't think Obama had a lot on his resume, and he was a fantastic candidate because he knew how to sell himself to the people. He knew how to talk to the people. Applying for a job, your resume matters. Applying for a political position, it's more about what you say. You can have a resume that's ain't shit on it, but if you're telling people what they want to hear, you can win. And I think Trump was far better at that than Kamala Harris.
I don't know, Tim. I don't know. I'm going to tell you why, though. We got a man that never should have been able to run in the first place. All right? We got a felon, right?
Okay.
We got somebody who's not a good businessman. I told you that. You didn't believe me, though. But I think you believe me now. But you didn't believe me that when I told you that the first time. Somebody who's not a good businessman.
Well, I think he is a good businessman in the sense of the way capitalism is done. I think the way capitalism is, you don't give a shit about the people working for you. You don't give a shit about the environment. You don't have to be moral. To me, a businessman, their only goal is to make themselves wealthier. They can do it at everybody else's expense. They can do it at the environment's expense. They don't have to care about nobody else. And I think he was making himself wealthier.
Well, hopefully that's not who we want in charge of all of us.
I agree with that, and I don't think the country should be ran by a businessman. Because a business does not have they don't have the time of day for you if you can't afford their good or their service. And I don't think that you should run a country where profit is your number one concern from your citizens.
Exactly. Then we're gonna let's just add on January 6th. Let's just add it on.
We just look at all the things this man did before he got in office. I mean, you know, how do we even get him? How do we even get him to be at the top of the Republican ticket again? It just don't make sense to me.
It goes back to what I agree with one thing you said. I don't believe if you got that many felonies on you, I think they should have a law that you couldn't work at McDonald's with 20 some odd or 30 some odd felonies on you. So yeah, I agree with that part. But I still stand by my original part is that it's all about how you can sell yourself to the people. And if there is no law preventing a multiple, damn near 36 felony guy from running, then it comes back down to what can he tell the people? And he was still able to sell himself. He was able to sell himself to the point where they believed all the felonies were fraudulent felonies.
Well, in my opinion, he sold himself to a bunch of dummies. All right, like MAGA reacts, like who else you got on here that's still on his side?
A lot of my MAGA, they're mostly on YouTube, but people who call in, Julio occasionally calls in, he's still MAGA. Gen X is MAGA.
A lot of them flip, and that just to me kind of shows you got some dummies, you got a couple dummies that just don't care, and then you got a couple dummies who at some point made some sense out of everything. Who at some point they came around. They said, okay, maybe I made a bad decision. Whereas we've been telling y'all that from the jump. We've been telling y'all since 2024. We've been telling y'all really since 2020. Some of us, myself included, I ain't like them since about 2018. I was in college when I first really was like, this guy ain't no good. I was in college, man. I'm still a young guy myself. I'm 26 now, but I mean, I've been thinking for a long time, this guy is somebody who's got no business in politics. So when I look at other people that praise him and they think he's doing good things, to me, it's never made sense.
Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think that? Because, look, the economy is not doing well right now. I mean, we're at war with no end in sight, and he's threatening to attack other countries like Cuba next. Why do you think there are so many people that still believe he's doing a fantastic job?
Well, I hate to admit it, but we never got rid of white supremacy. We never got rid of all that stuff.
So I'm amazed at how many folks think that all of this is the driving force of all of this is the pursuit of racism.
Well, yeah, when we look at the people who made Project 2025, I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Wow. So, pretty obvious to me. So what type of America do you believe Trump is trying to give us?
I believe in all honesty, I don't think he really cares where we end up. Because he's not going to be here for long anyway. I don't think he cares where we end up. I think his kids are going to be around, though. I mean, what is he trying to leave behind for his own children? Well, I understand the question, but I mean, let's be honest. They're going to be wherever he wants them to be, wherever they really want to be, right? They got enough money. They probably if they need to move out of the country, they'll do it.
Speaking of which, did you hear that his daughter, the one that's married to Jared Kushner, I think Ivanka's her name, they are trying to purchase an island off the coast of Albania, and they're claiming, I could not believe I heard this. They said they were out swimming and they discovered an uninhabited island and they're trying to buy it. And apparently, I mean, like, who the fuck is discovering land in 2026? What are you, Ivanka Columbus? But she's saying that they discovered this land, and now the nation of Albania, I guess the leader over there, is trying to sell it to Ivanka, and his own people are pissed off at him because this is protected land. Nobody's on it because it's environmental protections for the animals and things there. But they want to buy this and turn it into some kind of resort.
Man, I actually met Ivanka maybe 4 to 5 years ago. She sat at my table at a resort I used to work at. But
is she as good? Is she as good looking as Trump said? Where if she wasn't his daughter, he would be dating her.
Well, good thing is she ain't my daughter. So,
well, that would be a very wealthy daughter to have.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in the Trump family, but I mean, she want to have some fun. I would too.
Yeah. But I mean, literally, the reason why I brought that up, that whole Albanian island thing up, is because you mentioned they may be leaving the country. I mean, that's a good start right there. You got your own country.
I mean, it's a possibility. If she buys it, I don't know where the country is, but where the island is, but let's hope it's not close to Iran.
Ooh, what you say? They may try to do. Now, I don't think it's close to Iran, but my guess is it wouldn't surprise me if some of them, Trump and some of his, President Trump, like you said, he ain't gonna be around long, but it wouldn't surprise me if some of his associates and members of his administration and family did leave the United States after this was over. That would not surprise me at all.
Nah, that wouldn't surprise me either. I don't know what the plan is afterwards, and quite frankly, I don't have any beef with the family. If they stole money, we want it back, obviously, but you know, my whole beef is with Trump. Never liked the guy. Like I said, even ever since I've been in college. Well, let's put it like this. When I was in college, that's when the whole George Floyd and all, that's when all that was happening. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of my first time getting into, you know, really learning more about this dude and figuring all this stuff out. I know some of y'all probably been, you know, y'all probably known about Trump since the early 2000s.
Yeah, but he had a good reputation back then when he was doing cameos on Home Alone. And I mean, even when he had The Apprentice, he was viewed as a good guy. You know, he was I don't want to say promoting, but he was, you know, letting Mike Tyson fight in his, you know, in his arena. He wasn't a bad guy nationwide like that. And I know in New York people didn't like him, but outside of New York, he was not known as a bad guy like that.
I don't know, man. I feel like he's had a lot of, you know, allegations. Even before all that, you know, the allegations, they were all there. You know, even the Central Park 5 stuff, the stuff with his renting, you know, all that stuff's out. That stuff's been out there for years.
Well, listen, I knew about Trump. I had never heard about him not renting to black people. I mean, or you hear rumors and you kind of just dispel it. Like I've heard rumors that John Wayne was racist. Who else? Maybe Clint Eastwood. I mean, you hear it, but because it ain't like there's no court cases and them going on of any significance. It kind of just stuff that's floating around like that. It doesn't really take away from the person. I mean, Elvis Presley was, you know, there was rumors that he said he didn't want a Negro to step on his blue suede shoes and all this shit. You hear that stuff. But because Trump is president and now he is tweeting and posting so much shit over and over again, he's taking it to a whole new level times 1,000.
Man, I don't know. I'm just gonna have to disagree. I'm gonna use Hulk Hogan as an example. When I was coming up, Hulk Hogan was he was a really big wrestler, and I thought it was pretty cool. Probably was one of my favorites on the game. You know,
he's another one that we did not know until just like Dog the Bounty Hunter. We didn't know until they got caught saying that stuff.
Exactly. But guess what, Tim? As soon as I found out, I immediately, you know, I'm like, okay, so he's not somebody I want to be intertwined with. You know, not somebody that I want. I wouldn't want anybody to know that I support this dude at all. I don't want anybody to know that. So,
yeah, but the thing about, fortunately for Hulk Hogan, by the time that shit came out, I mean, he had made his money. I mean, he could sustain it. Same thing with Dog the Bounty Hunter. I mean, I don't know how much money he was making on that show, but by the time that stuff came out, even for him, you know, he had multiple seasons already out. It didn't come out in the beginning. Like Mel Gibson is another one. By the time it came out on Mel Gibson, most of his career was behind him. Whereas with Trump, he's now running as a new career. Like, let's say Mel Gibson decided to run for president. That shit's going to be all over the place. He would not probably do well with black voters. When Trump ran for president, I don't think it wasn't enough of that out there yet.
I mean, I guess it wasn't enough for some people. It was enough for me. I didn't vote for him. So I've never voted for Trump. But the very first time, I guess was it 2016?
Yeah.
Okay, so I couldn't vote in that one anyway. To be honest, I wouldn't have, because at the time I didn't know anything really about it. I didn't vote in 2020 because that would have been my first time being able to vote. Mm-hmm. And I was at a point where I was kind of like, well, I don't want to vote for anybody unless it's somebody I actually want to vote for. Okay. And
you didn't like Biden?
I didn't know much about Biden at the time. I knew he was vice president.
That speaks volumes on Biden, considering that when he ran for president in 2020, not only was he coming off an 8-year VP completion, but he's been in politics his whole life. The fact, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with what you said, but the fact that a lot of people did not know a lot about him, considering he had been in politics. I think he became a congressman at age 29 or something like that. So he was at national political levels his whole adult life, and some people didn't know much about him.
Well, I was still young at the time, so to me it was just, I wasn't really a political guy at all back then. So to me it wasn't really worth, wasn't really worth looking into it for me. I guess I was 20, so yeah, I would have been 20 at the time. Like I said, that's when COVID happened. So as soon as COVID happened, I'm finally graduating college, getting into adulthood and everything, and I'm, now it's important to me. Let me just put it like that. Now it's important now, especially now that I know what's on the line, right? That's why when people like, MAGA Reacts come up here and spew all that foolishness, man, I'm just like, you don't really care. Like, you don't really care about what's going on. You don't really care about how people are affected. You don't care about what's going to happen to other people, and
well, I think one of the main issues with the Trump supporter side of the aisle is it's okay if this shit happens to other people, which is why you're starting to see a lot of MAGA being disappointed with some of the things they thought were going to happen to other people was happening to them. I didn't think I was going to lose my farm. I didn't think you were going to deport my spouse. So that's what's been happening since day one. It's always been about the shit happening to somebody else. And now a lot of things he is doing is happening to them.
What they should have felt that way. They should have felt that way when he had people storming to the White House. If y'all didn't look at that and think that was insane, I don't know what to tell y'all. If y'all didn't see the stuff in Minnesota with George Floyd, if y'all didn't see the way that he handled that, if y'all didn't see the way he handled COVID, if y'all didn't see the way he handled things when he actually had a problem, when there was actually problems for him to solve, if you can't see that everything went wrong every time, I don't really know what to tell those people.
Well, the economy, like I said, up to the pandemic, the economy, some would say due to Obama, of course, but under Trump, the economy wasn't that bad the first term. And Trump, this is why I say he makes a good candidate, is that he can just do a little bit right and make you think he's doing everything right. He knows how to sell even the mildest accomplishment as if it's something great, because MAGA thought the economy was skyrocketing under Trump. And so he's just a really good salesman. I got to move it on, but he's a great salesman. I didn't think Kamala Harris was that. I don't know who the Democrats have going for, but I'll tell you this, it's good to hear you're in at 26, because I wasn't in politics at all at 26. And that's, if I'm get Trump credit for anything, it's that he's bringing a lot of younger folks into the political sphere. Whether they love him or hate him, a lot more people are getting involved in politics because of him. So,
well, I think that's terrible. I think it's absolutely terrible. I also think you said so. I mean, you're still saying he's a good candidate. I don't know why you're saying that.
Because he can sell himself. Because it's like a guy who goes door to door selling insurance or selling vacuum cleaners, and he gets a lot of sales. It don't matter if he's telling the customers the truth or not. At the end of the day, he's getting a lot of sales. He is good at getting votes.
So Tim, that's actually what I do. I'm a door-to-door life insurance agent. That's actually what I do. So if anybody understands what you're saying, it's me. But what I'm saying is, I don't think this guy is a good one. He's not a good president. Okay, so if he's not a good president, how can you be a good salesman? Because everything that he tried to sell me during the campaign, it all sounded like bullshit to me, and it still sounds like.
Well, he wasn't a good salesman to you. Then maybe you knock on the door of a person to sell insurance to they're retired from doing it themselves. You're going to sound like bullshit to that person because they can see through what you're saying. A lot of folks couldn't see through it.
Yeah, and that's the first thing I said when I got on the call. He was a good person for dummies. He was a good salesman to dummies. If you was a dummy, you would pick that shit up and you would think it was great. For me, I heard it. it all just don't sound right to me. None of it sound right. It never did. The fact that we thought he was going to solve a war in 24 hours, it never sounded. Tim, how did you think that, Tim?
Because of his relationship. I get that I sound like a fool on it, and I'll admit it, but because he had a good relationship with Putin is what I thought. I thought he was going to get Putin. I never imagined he would fail so bad at that promise. I didn't. Now listen, I'm with you on the rest of that shit. I didn't think he was going to meet a lot of those other promises, like giving you 50% off your energy cost, or bringing rent down, or bringing insurance down. I knew all of that stuff was bullshit, but I did think he could get Putin to back off on that war.
Well, Tim, that was for just about everything that he promised us. There was a very clear and definable opposition to it. Every time, in my opinion, every time he says something, I can look at it and say, let's give an example. Gas prices, right? Let's say he said he was going to bring gas prices down. All right. Well, he said the way that he was going to bring them down is he said that he was going to start drilling more, and we were going to produce more oil than ever, right?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, Biden was producing the most oil from any generation. Biden produced the most oil during his last
Well, I'll
term.
tell you something. Under Trump, the price of fuel was not that bad until he started that damn war. People were happy with fuel price. Grocery prices they had an issue with, but gas prices were. I mean, at the State of the Union address back in February, which seems like forever ago now, but in February, what is that? 4 months ago, he was bragging that gas was averaging $2.20 a gallon. Now, I did a show on that. He was lying, but the cheapest gas at the time was $2.37 in the state of Oklahoma. But still, gas prices were fairly manageable in February. And he had been in office for over a year at that point. It's just he decided to start this war and he fucked everything up.
Well, yeah, that's true. But my whole thing was that he said the way he was going to do it was by drilling more. So let's really call a spade a spade. If we're already in Biden's administration and we're drilling more oil than we've ever drilled before, if we're not already seeing the savings from that, why is drilling more going to save us more when it's already not the case?
International. I don't think the oil we drill in this country is what we use. So you can drill, baby, drill. I don't think that's what we use. I think the stuff we get out of this country is not ready to be. We end up exporting that stuff. I think we import oil that we use, if I'm correct. Maybe I might be wrong on that, but I don't think we use what we drill in this country, which is why I don't think just simply drilling in this country alone is going to bring down the price of oil. I think we use other shit for that.
Exactly, but he told us that it would, right? He told us he was going to save us money by doing that.
Yeah.
And I already know that since we were already drilling more than we have before, then there's no reason that you drilling more than we already drilled is going to save us more money, because it's already not saving us money.
No, but they had but the drill baby drill thing. While I agree with you, it ain't gonna change shit. It sounds good because they had convinced folks that Biden had closed the pipeline and was not drilling. They had, so you got it makes sense because it's gonna follow the other lie you've been telling.
Exactly.
It's a good salesman.
You see what I'm saying?
I agree with you, but I'm just saying that's what makes him a good salesman. He knows how to link all that shit together, whether it's accurate and true or not. I gotta move it on. No, I can't. Last word.
I would say one word. So I was gonna say, like, I did go to college. I did the whole thing. A big part of that, okay, a big part of every assignment I turned in was two things, Tim. I had to make a claim, and I had to support that claim. All right, that was all of my classes, whether it be psychology, whether it be math. You got to show your work. Whether any subject. All right, the first thing you do is you make your claim. And you need to prove that claim. You need to make that claim.
You don't have to do that in politics.
Exactly. And this is last thing. My English teacher told me when you're writing a paragraph or writing an essay or whatever, There's a couple things you never, ever put into that essay, okay? That's I think, I believe. Nobody believes that shit. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what I feel, think, or believe. So if you can't show me evidence, I don't really care what you're saying. That's all I got to say.
I'll leave it at that. I appreciate you coming through. And I will say that when you're campaigning, you're not going to be in a position to show evidence yet. So I mean, I agree with what he's saying in terms of, obtaining an education. But when you're actually campaigning, I feel and stuff like that is going to be a little bit more valuable because you're not in a position yet where you can prove stuff. Look, I've had a long relationship with Vladimir Putin. As many of you already know, I have several businesses throughout Mother Russia or the nation of Russia. I feel I would be far better at ending this conflict, whereas Biden is just throwing tons of money into the Ukraine and we're getting nothing out of it. I feel I would be a significantly better politician at handling that because I got a relationship with one country and we already going to have a relationship with the Ukraine from Biden. So I will have a relationship with both sides. And I feel that would put us in a much more advantageous position to end that war. I feel being used in politics. But I agree with him in terms of being in school. Looking in the comments, shout out to the caller. I'm also a financial professor, teaching regular people how to create generational wealth. Wow. I may need to talk to you. Don't know what the name there says. Young Merv, the cut man or something like that. Nice channel, nice channel from a proud FBA. Thank you. Appreciate the compliment as well. Let me make sure I didn't miss any other super chats. Tap the screen. Get us on up to 120, if you will. Trump reduced spending on Ukraine and increased NATO spending. When it comes to, what do I always say? When it comes to data, numerical data coming from the Trump administration, I'm not confident of what to believe. So if Trump says he increased NATO spending and he cut spending over here, I don't take it at face value because Trump has been caught manipulating data so much. I mean, he's the same guy that said they had a larger crowd at his inauguration than Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. The data that comes from Trump, he's the one that wanted to fire Jerome Powell for, interest rates. He plays games with numbers. I don't know what to say other than that. So I'm not saying you're wrong, MAGA Reacts, but what I'm saying is he has an extensive habit of playing games with numerical data. Just has an extensive habit of saying things that are not accurate like that. So, I mean, all of the data coming from Doge, I don't think you should believe any of it. In regards to how many people were terminated, in regards to how much money Doge saved, I don't think there's any information we got from Doge with Elon Musk that you should take at face value. I believe all of that was altered or changed just to make him sound better. Same thing with USAID, all of that. I don't believe the data. That's just my opinion. He says a lot of stuff that doesn't turn out to be accurate. I mean, they said we were saving, billions with Doge? And then they had to hire people back. They were claiming they were firing people that had no performance, and they were DEI. You got judges coming forward saying you're just firing people because they're black or because they're a woman or because they're gay, and they got nothing to do with performance. You ain't finding fraud. You're finding black people. I mean, so I don't. The date when he gives data, it's impossible. I mean, so many different courts have ruled against him and said that stuff. It's hard to believe all of those judges are lying. So I'll just leave it at that. See, you fool, you living in the land of crooks. You got the president stealing billions. And what do you have to say? Free handouts, huh? Handouts for the peasants, says Shimmy. Okay. Don't know where to go with that. Do not know where to go with handouts to the president. I don't need an excuse to not vote for Kamala Harris, says handsome conservative. Look, you're a conservative. That's all you need. I don't expect a conservative to vote for Kamala Harris. I don't care if Trump was the most corrupt president we ever had. I wouldn't expect conservatives to vote for the liberal running. I'd expect you to either find another independent or not vote at all. But no, if you're conservative, I don't expect you to vote for a party that believes that women has a right to choose, or, you know, Biden's or Kamala or the liberal stance on the border is different from yours. The liberal stance on immigration is different. So no, I don't expect you to vote left. But I still would not expect you to just stand behind the guy that is doing things you thought was fraudulent. I just think you would sit it out. That would be my opinion. What does that have to do with Ukraine spending and how much NATO would spend? I don't believe what he's saying is what I'm saying. The NATO spending, for instance, he claims that he got them to go from 2% GDP to 5% GDP. I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I'd have to hear from other sources. I've gotten to the point where I've heard Trump say so many things that are numerical or data oriented that are not true, that I don't take his statements at face value anymore. The same thing with Ukraine spending and all of that. I mean, Trump gives, he was telling us that Obama was giving piles of cash to Iran. Our money. That's false. We were giving them their own money back. He says things that are not accurate. I don't know what else to tell you. He says things that are not accurate. So I'm a little hesitant to just trust that stuff. He wouldn't know the truth if he was bent over. Anyway, I appreciate the 122,000. It is a Knicks game that I want to see. Certainly want to see Trump walk in the game. So I'm going to do what I got to do. I appreciate you folks. As always, feel free to follow the program if you're watching on Instagram, Substack, TikTok, or Clapper. We'll be here tomorrow. And if you're watching on YouTube, give your boy a sub. You guys take care. Catch you tomorrow. Thank you.